Hey gang, this is Fillmore, just letting you know that if you enjoy our podcast, quite frankly, a Howard Stern podcast, and you'd like to donate some money for the upkeep, or you want to request certain clips, please donate to our Patreon page at patreon.com/JimFix. That's JIMFIXX. You can donate as much as you want for as long as you want. There's absolutely no obligation.
Honestly, I just thought you think it was kind of like funny. This chick's real into you, and then like, hey, if you're really into her, you know what? I swear to you, I like a stack of Bibles on my children's life.
My point is,
that was my thought.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I believe you then, but I don't.
Not to embarrass you.
I know you believe in the Bible, and that means a lot.
No, I said my children's lives. That's what I'm being greedy.
No, if you get a girl on the air who likes fat guys, I'll insult this guy who I say is my friend on the air and go, can you believe this hot chick likes fat guys? I'll do my bro, the gayest fucking thing ever, bro. Fuck says that. And
I do, douchebag.
I know.
Yeah. Is douchebag better?
Yeah, and you want to know something? I thought you were a bro. Honestly.
I don't want to be a bro. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Why are you
treating me like I'm a shithead?
I am not. I would do this for any of my bros.
This is dumb, bros. This is
all right. Fuck you.
Look, I'll fuck you. So leave your
She doesn't want to
with,
just fuck you. She's looking at.
I don't want to date her. And I was against the dial-a-date thing. And then that girl, she was a little bit older. She was, I don't know how much older, but definitely older. She, was out in the professional world out there, and it was more of a woman just in the sense of her life experience. And I actually hit it off with that girl. Right. And I tried very hard to make that work, and it turns out she had a boyfriend. Howard News found that she had a boyfriend, so I've been kind of burned going down this road before. You could say, I'll get in the studio, and I'll get there, and there'll be free food, and I'll take some free food home to feed my kid who hasn't eaten in a week, because I cashed my check from Chuckles in Mineola to buy Coke from the guy on the LIE who sells the oranges. And then Levy picks her up and plies her with drugs and gets her up here, and she's stoned out of her mind. And she goes, I like fat guys. I like fat guys. Howard and Gary fall for it like the suckers that they are, and they get her in here, and she's in a bikini, and I'm giving her my number, and Levy's outside getting free crumpets for the family. What if I strolled in a girl who's into geeky-looking, pelican-fucking hot guy?
I cared about you.
And she's got a fetish. She's into pelicans.
Bring her in. So you're saying I look like a pelican?
Yeah, you're saying I'm fat. The whole segment is about... The whole segment is about this hot chick somehow liking an obese, disgusting guy.
Fuck off. You're a fucking asshole.
Hey gang, this is Fillmore, aka Jim Fix, aka Fillmore Fingers. You're listening to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. This is the finale of the Bro Fight. Officially, it's part 3. We were originally going to have part 2, but we needed to add a little bit more of a session to the last part, and we wanted to make it a little more well-rounded. This is the longest of the 3, I believe, and I apologize for that, but hopefully more is not less in this case. So thank you guys for being patrons. Thank you guys for being supportive. And we hope you're all doing well. Enjoy.
I was going to say, Sam, if you what would you kill to see Howard actually being deposed, like in a courtroom in a situation like this against a real...
He would do worse than the OJ deposition that I saw when he had to go for the civil trial, and they're pushing him on the Bruno Mali shoes. I mean, are you wearing those shoes? Are those your shoes? Those aren't your shoes. Here's a picture of you in the shoes. Yeah, he would do worse than
to this
OJ.
day I've never seen that particular.
It's amazing.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
I know that. I know it's a bit. But even I'm like, hey, here's a bit. Yeah, bring the girl in. Ha, ha, ha. But meanwhile, if she's hot, I'm going to go out with her.
And it's not like I'm begging you to do it.
You're not. And I clearly misread that, because that's something I'd want someone to do for me. If any letter came in and someone said, hey, you're going to get to meet this chick's into you, that's like a huge icebreaker for me. So I would like that. You clearly don't.
Yep.
So we have to stop short because his lies and his manipulations come so fast and intricate. So he's saying, so I misread that. No, you didn't misread that. You purposefully went ahead with that, knowing that would make him uncomfortable. And you went with the bit anyways. You didn't misread it. It wasn't something that you thought, Artie's going to like this, right? No, you knew Artie wasn't going to like this, but you did it anyway because it's good for your show.
I don't think he knew that Artie wasn't going to like it at all. I think he didn't care. I think that was we're going to do it anyway. Like, it's like, fuck what he feels. This is my show. This is the way it's going to go. And he's going to enjoy it. And he's going to appreciate it. And as Bob said, he's not going to have the fucking nutsack to go after me for this. He just won't. But he didn't count on Artie being however he was feeling that day. And
honest.
I'd love to know if Artie had some other issues that he's not admitting to ever at this point. Like, not just drug issues or feeling like withdrawn or like withdrawals, but something that made him decide to fucking snap. And it wasn't just, it's like something else. You know what I mean? Something under the surface at the show that really pissed him off.
Sometimes just repetitive behavior and repeated abuse. Like I said, sometimes you just walk in, you get slapped every day. Okay, I got my slap. I get to go. Sometimes that person slaps you and you just fucking right hand them back. You know, like sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happened too much and you just hit them back. And that's kind of what I think happened here, to be honest.
Fair enough.
A lot of times I'm uncomfortable.
But I didn't mean to ridicule you.
There's a lot of times I'm uncomfortable with shit that goes on the show. But the fact of the matter is, everybody here gets uncomfortable with shit, and you got to bite the bullet.
Right.
And, the heroin song parodies, that stuff is really, really a personal, really makes me feel awful.
Right,
but
I get all of that.
But I bite the bullet.
But I get all that.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I was saying is now, what I view is like Artie's just kind of talking about the guy code, just like, hey, if you really meant to do this, there's a certain way you go about it. Howard has no idea about the guy code because he has no friends in reality. But I think that, now what I find interesting at this point is now Artie starts to expand the scope of what they're talking about. Artie starts to expand. It's bigger than just this situation now with the girl. This is kind of a turning point here where he's expanding it about Howard's dynamic on the air, how he starts to go into things that people don't want him to go into. And this is sort of a turning point, I think, in the whole bro fight.
I'm 100% in agreement with that. And I think it may have happened regardless, but because Howard acted like such a doe in the woods about this entire situation, he led himself down this path. You brought this on by pretending to be a deer in headlights when it comes to this entire setup that you wouldn't admit wasn't for a bro reason or whatever bullshit, So you did this to yourself. You brought this on.
And it's ironic. They played back the audio of certain things, but not the part where he actually says, I'm a jerk. Like Howard's a jerk. Right. Which was predicated everything was predicated on complete horse shit and would make, if they did play it, it would make Robin look especially bad, obviously. And we pointed that out in the last episode of the first one. But ultimately, it's just funny how in situations like this, the audio is never Howard's friend. Like when he's been called out for something, like the Russell Crowe calling him fat, and then it goes out the paper, and he got shit for that. Then he tried to go, I never said that. Anyway,
part of this conversation is that you think my motives in doing that were to make you less of a man, and it wasn't.
Well, that's what it felt like.
Okay. And the second thing that's just hurtful to me is that...
Oh, to you.
Yeah, wah. Artie called me his pelican. Wah.
Because I care about you. That
But
I
Howard,
do consider you my bro.
Every day,
No, but I consider
every
you a
second of
brother.
every day.
You know what? If you and I were in the trenches
that's
together in the
fine.
Army, you would be my friend for life, even if we didn't see each other for 25 years. Fred's
What
been
does
at
that
my
even mean?
It means nothing. It's just word vomit, like deciding.
Trenches?
Howard in
Yeah.
the Army, could you fucking imagine?
Right, Vietnam.
Guy
I mean,
wouldn't kill a goddamn fly. I mean, Anyways,
he would be the perfect like camouflage if it were just like twigs, just like laying in the brush, you know.
Jungle warfare.
I mean, just like lay down, play dead.
Yeah.
He's a stick.
Yeah. No, the army analogy is a funny one, just because. I mean, if he were in the army, I'm trying to think how would be the guy with all the bullets deciding who gets to use some of them. Like he'd be counting them.
yeah.
Oh Jesus.
30 fucking years.
Well,
He is
that's
every
a
bit my
special
fucking
bond. I
bro.
know that. I
And
know.
you've been
And
here
he's
for
never
7
been insulted or denigrated
whatever.
on this show.
You've been here.
Never.
No, but the point is,
Could you stop laughing
through
around
thick and thin, I will call that guy my brother. Now, that's something out of the 60s. I understand that.
Okay, the other thing is, Artie knows exactly how shitty he's treated the rest of the staff all these years. I mean, Sam said it. He was such a super fan. He would have had like almost an encyclopedic knowledge of a certain point to a certain point to while he's there, and for Tim to hear that must be especially galling. Like the way he abused Fred all those years. Jesus H. Christ.
I think Artie's really trying to expand. Like we're not even talking about the girl. Like Artie is trying to expand this point. Like, dude, you have a real fucking problem with the way that you deal with people. And he's not even really scratching the surface. He's just saying like, dude, you have a problem with the way that you use this show and the dynamic. There's something bigger going on here. And I think Howard is really trying to curtail that right now because I think he sees where that's going.
Hey,
Sam?
but picture based on what you two are saying. Look at how long it has taken us to even scratch the surface of the problem that is the NPD. And picture Artie right now trying to expand this. And he probably has an inkling of what we do, like of what we know. You know what I'm saying? So
Without question. He's been there long
sitting
enough.
there and thinking, how can I, in this moment, tap into all these roots and all these facets that are this NPD that has now encompassed this entire show, and he's starting to get the bigger picture. It's very hard to expand upon. So, he's doing the best he can, and I feel for him. But I feel like in this moment is when he's realizing, I'm trying to tell you, you're a problem.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Exactly.
And that's something you don't relate to as a younger man. But the fact of the matter is,
It's something your generation
the
lacks.
feeling behind it.
I come from a shitty generation.
You come from a shitty generation. And the fact of the
Actually, I
matter
do.
is, you do.
Think about
And the fact of the matter is,
How many fucking times they say the fact of the matter in that last minute? That's one I wish they would bury with him or any of these cats when they pass away.
By the way, Howard is the shittiest generation that's ever fucking lived, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't understand what's the difference between Artie's generation. Why is it shittier than Robin's? Like,
oh no,
I don't
the generation
get it.
they're from is, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but
Yeah.
the same goes for you. Yeah, two army buddies might not see each other for 50 years, and they see each other.
Again, this fucking army analogy. They're
Yeah,
not fighting anything. They're fighting each other. Artie's fighting against being treated like a piece of shit.
They're fighting fucking wine bills. Like, what are you talking about, man?
Exactly.
Why don't we ask Captain Robin Quivers?
who failed upwards in the army the whole time and managed to come out unscathed. She
had to stay in to pay off a TV.
her biggest fear was exactly bills.
That's a great war story.
she was hanging invoices around her neck like ears.
Best Buy,
credit card
$700.
statements.
And they embrace each other.
How you're comparing this to being
Yes,
in Vietnam?
I didn't say Vietnam. I said an army.
Right.
And the fact of the matter
How
is,
am I not loyal to you on this show?
I didn't say you weren't. Did I ever accuse you of not being loyal?
There's nothing.
I'm saying to you, you ridiculed me for saying you're my brother and you're my friend. You're saying that it's not a friendship if you're together 5 hours a day on the air. Okay, it's on the air, but I feel like you're on my side. When I'm dead.
Jesus Christ almighty.
The tangled web we weave when we lie and try to deceive. My God.
Yeah, and the one my favorite one. It's we let it play. We didn't say anything, but Robinson. Oh my god! Oh my god! And it really is. If you took her out of the equation, how fast do you think Howard would fold? If you just took her out of this, just hypothetically, he doesn't have her to fight with him. And Bowie, well, he's not in there now, so we can't really use Bowie. But if it's just Howard, how fast do you think he already doubles down and gets even angrier?
He gets somebody else in there if she wouldn't do it. Howard doesn't fight fair.
No, he doesn't. And actually, that was more recently, because you heard the latest episode, right, Bob? With the the Lucky Charms.
Boy, did I ever! Yeah.
Holy shit! Can you just picture her? Yeah, when you guys said she's in a closet just eating those boxes, and then the magic marshmallow made time go faster, I was like, boy, oh boy, she's probably snorting those fucking marshmallows by the dozen.
And she's walking in sock feet, so he doesn't hear her traipsing across the kitchen floor.
If you're eating cereal alone in a closet and hiding it, the money's not worth it.
No, it's not.
Seriously, it's just not.
I felt so bad for Bob because Raven and I were like, oh God, Bob, it's more homework. Make sure you're listening to this.
I feel bad when those are over with. I mean, they're brutal, man.
Do you feel you need a Silkwood shower?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
She's now smelling cats and thinking, I bet this smells like heaven. Like, that's like really disturbing.
Yeah, those Instagram posts they're really something out of a horror movie.
She looks like she's been crying.
You know what's funny? What I'm listening to, like this last clip with Howard and Artie, is like Howard's trying to talk to Artie about something that Artie knows about. Like Artie has good friends. Howard doesn't have the same friends that Artie has. Like, I feel like I relate to Artie in some ways. Like, I have friends that I've known for 25 years and that I talk to every day. And it's like, if someone came to me that their best friend is their personal trainer, and they're like, dude, this is how you deal with friends, man. It's like, I don't know, dude. Like I've got like 3 or 4 guys I talked to today that I've known since I was fucking 6.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's not an exaggeration. Like we talk every day on Google Hangouts. Like we just kind of chop it up. Like, and that's what I think is going on. Is like Howard's trying to school Artie on something that Artie's an expert in, and Howard has no fucking frame of reference at all.
Bob, what are you saying? Your best friends don't sign your paycheck?
They don't. No, actually, not one of them. Not one of them do. Although I like my boss. My boss is super cool, but she's never humiliated me in front of like groups of people. Seems to respect me.
Sam, do you call your boss your bro?
Maybe at the Christmas party. I don't know.
Does your boss have a mug that says "bro" on it, and your signature's on it? Sam,
I don't hang out with my boss. Yeah.
She's from the '60s.
Down, and I feel like the world is coming in on me. When I come into this room, I go, "Thank God, I've got Artie, Fred, Robin, not so much Benji, but and yes, even you, Benji. But I go, thank God I have these people, because like no matter how bad the shit gets, especially when it went down with the censorship and time.
Oh God, the censorship. That was one battle that could not be won. Go ahead, Sam.
But we have to bring that in, even though it has no frame of reference to what Artie is actually pointing on. The compass is pointing one way, and Howard's like, no, you know what? Let's just let it spin around. Censorship, FCC. Come on, let me land on something to feel bad about for.
Was there any real skin off Howard's ass with that whole censorship stuff? Nothing. I mean, like for real, like Opie and Anthony lost their jobs. They got compensated for it. They didn't know they were going to get compensated for it, and they still took a risk. Like, I don't know. Like, Howard talks about these things, but everybody else paid for them.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why when he talks about wars and this and that is like, okay, so what came out of your ass? Nothing. You
More
didn't
recently,
lose any money. Like,
no.
you're
Quite to the opposite. When recently, I think it was the 15th. I'm not 100% sure. I've just been clipping the more recent shows this week, and he said about when I got fired. You know, I was like I had no money saved. Dude, the guy had to get paid the remainder of his 2 years at WNBC, and he was making 400 G's a year. He had guaranteed money salary for 2 years coming to him, and 419.80. What, $85, 400,000?
Huge.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
First of all, it's a lie. So first that he he never fucking spent a nickel on himself. So it's not like he was eating, was cutting coupons and reusing, like squeezing out the end of the toothpaste, cutting it open.
He definitely didn't spend it on the rugs on his head. That's for sure.
As a Sopranos reference, you're not exactly eating cat food.
No, exactly. So we'll probably put that in. If we do another breakdown before the end of the year, that'll go in there. But I just wanted to make that known. He's never been hurting in his life, never. So, anyway,
and I'm always getting suspended and shit. I would say I just have this refuge. And when I get down in my career, Robin would like be there, like laughing at me and doing like the radio with me, and I go, oh, thank God, because it's making me feel like I got a team.
I know.
I'm not alone.
I know. Can I explain something?
So that's what you mean to me.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No.
You can't get to turn it around, Howard.
Yeah, I'm so mad. So see, Robin, she built me up. So I have this false sense of self, and this is what you need to do for me. And why aren't you doing this for me? Why are you calling out my problems? Why are you calling out what a shitty person I am? You're supposed to be fake and build me up just the way Robin does. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Bravo.
There you go.
And for you to ridicule that,
talk about ridicule. Suppose you were a fat guy.
I was under a whole different impression about
and you're the most self deprecating guy there is usually,
right.
and you're very aware of your physical being, right?
Right.
Suppose you were fat and you really were embarrassed by the way you look.
Okay.
You work on a guy's radio show and someone says, "What's going on today?" Well, a chick with loves fat guys is coming in to see if
I didn't mean to insult you.
Of course, it's insulting.
Thank you.
This is a human being try to explain to a non-human how a human works. That's what we're listening to right now.
Yeah, a human versus a human impersonator.
Yeah, to a lizard. This is a human talking to a lizard person.
We're talking to a gangly Hamptonite.
Yeah,
fucking piece of shit.
A shambling body with a wig, trying to figure out how to be a human, and Artie's trying to put him up on game. Like, this is not how you operate if you were really this way, and he's just rejecting it.
I think also the idea that it could have been any other day he might have been fine, but that particular day was the wrong day to do it. He just fucking had it. And it might not have been a cumulative thing. It might have simply been he was not in the right fucking mood to play around, and that's it.
Yep.
What kind of world?
The girl said she was into you. She likes fat guys, and I figured you're not uptight about you being fat. I didn't know you were so uptight about being called a fat guy.
I'm uptight, dude. You're the one who told.
Did you hear? He goes, I didn't know you were so fat. I didn't uptight about being fat.
Instead of saying that's not what it was about, now all of a sudden it was what it was about. I just didn't think you'd be that sensitive. Freudian wig slip.
He doesn't know you. He's not even a friend.
You are wrong. Because you're changing it. My motivation wasn't to humiliate you. My motivation wasn't to humiliate you. It was for you to meet a girl.
Yesterday you were being a fantastic radio personality and a shitty friend. That's what you were doing.
Bullshit.
Yes, you were.
But that wasn't my motivation.
Yeah, that's and that might be one of the last few times someone's ever told him the fucking truth.
Yeah, facts.
I'm telling you how I feel.
All right, and I'm telling you that was not true.
And I'm saying I don't want you to change a thing about the show.
No, I know.
But this conversation is happening. I don't know what the fuck to do about it. I'm being honest with you.
Because you feel something, does it make it real?
That is the most asinine, backwards ass question I have ever heard. If you feel something, does it make it real?
Right.
Robin needs to ask herself that question first.
Absolutely.
Off.
Yep.
Yeah. And on top of it, he's saying, listen, I'm giving you an out. I understand that it was for a show. I understand you were doing the best radio show you could yesterday, and I was included in it. Now you're trying to loop it in with friendship and brothership and kinship, and that is not the same thing. And you're trying to make it like you're doing this as a friendship thing. It's not.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
He is trying to give him an out. That's insightful. It's exactly what's happening.
You mean Artie in general trying to do his best to diffuse it by, well, get the out would really be just saying, look, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. And he's not getting that. So,
well, he's giving him the most petty out.
Yeah.
That. What are you talking about?
You felt it doesn't mean he meant it.
Let's see what people say. Let's go to King of All Blacks.
So he has to go to the raid. Now he's hoping he goes to King of All Blacks and he's hoping King of All Blacks is going to back him up, but he doesn't.
Go ahead.
I'm with Artie today, man.
What?
I'm going to have to side with Artie today.
Oh, fuck you.
Well, let him talk.
Oh.
See?
Is Robin back on Sally Jesse? I'm sorry.
That's what I was just going to bring up. It's almost exactly like, did you feel the audience were against you, Robin, or were they, correct to go after you?
Did they ask you specific questions where you just brought up Martin Luther King, haphazardly? You threw out MLK like in the fucking wind? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Black icon. Martin X. Malcolm X.
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, fat guys. All the fat guys go. You're being insulted.
Go ahead, King. Why do you side with Artie on this? I'm not even sure what the argument's about, but go ahead.
Yes, you do.
Because it's like if you see the girl that was hot that maybe Beth knew. And
I don't know any girls like that, and I would do that for Artie.
And in his personal life, he would do that.
No friend. First of all,
so why didn't you?
Don't let him talk. I mean, please. Are we going to get a Booker T. Washington reference out of this, Robin?
Maybe.
Beth doesn't have a lot of female friends, and the ones that do have not approached me about Artie.
Yeah, but what he's saying is, why would you bring it on the air, and why is
because it was something that I would want done for me.
Because he's being a great radio guy.
No.
He's not being a friend. He's not thinking of me as a
I thought it was an interesting segment, but also I did it out of friendship.
It was clearly fascinating.
Sam?
But I can't be wrong, so I'm crying, I'm exasperating, I'm using every part of my annoying narcissistic self to prove that even though you're right, you're wrong.
Yeah, why are you guys not agreeing with me? What's your fucking problem?
Dominated the show and it's dipped over into this.
Want to know something? I don't think it was a particularly good segment, quite frankly. If you want to know my analysis.
Thank you for the plug, Howard. Exactly.
To this, so people are probably enjoying this.
Let me say something, because
I'm
you're
ripping
missing
my heart out.
You're missing something here, both you and the king, that the girl, we don't know her from Adam.
We don't.
Well, right, okay, so
where are we going to introduce you? In his apartment, a total stranger?
Well, nobody's allowed in there, so that will never happen.
We got her to come here and say we'll meet you at the diner.
Right, she wanted to be on the radio and meet you.
Exactly.
Fine, but that's to me, that's an entree to meeting a chick.
Yeah, but Robin, you don't know her personally.
Fred met his wife on the radio. It ain't such a bad deal.
It's a different situation.
No, it's not. It's the exact same thing.
No, it isn't. It's a dial a date. Fred was a willing participant.
She didn't know him any better than that girl knew you.
It was a dial a date. It was a willing participant.
Well, here's the thing. That's the thing. I completely slipped my mind. Yeah, Fred volunteered for the dial-a-date. Artie was just there. This was thrown on him. It wasn't, hey, do you mind if we bring this chick in? Or maybe he was. I don't know. That's the one thing we'll never know, I suppose.
We kind of touched on that with the last one, and we said it was a completely different situation, and they're making it out to be a different situation, and they were also mad at Fred for not divulging if he slept with the girl or not and being late. So
that's true.
And Artie remembers this because he was a fan. So them lying to his face right now is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. Artie's not letting them gaslight him. He's saying, no, it was a different thing.
Good. Light them up, Artie.
even though he's going to apologize and take a lot of it back in the wrap-up show of this day. Don't buy any of it, guys. The real stuff was what you heard here and in the previous wrap-up show, and when she was in the studio. That's what Artie. Excuse me. That's what he really feels. Don't be fooled by any kind of backtracking during that wrap-up show subsequently. Oh, sorry, Sam.
I have a question, Bob. If he does backtrack the way he did about this, you know, his real feelings towards this and him hammering and staying on the points, which is hard to do with all this nonsense floating around, do people have some sort of, I guess, do they backtrack because they think they're wrong? Do they second guess themselves a lot with this MPD when they know they're right? And Artie's right in this case. And he, you know, magnificently sticks up for himself the best way we've ever seen against Robin and Howard at the same time. Do they, when they backtrack, is that kind of a normal thing? Do they second guess themselves?
Again, no, he's not second guessing himself.
Not now. I'm saying later. Later on.
So what I'm saying is he's not second guessing himself. What he's doing is because everything that they do, and I've harped on this since the first episode, it's rooted in plausible deniability, so that they can steer it another way. They can steer it in another, oh, I was just doing this, I was just doing this, I was just doing that, I wasn't saying that, I was saying this. So what he's doing is he's going back to that plausible deniability. He's trying to deflection it and fraction it off into these other areas so that the spotlight is not on him and what he actually did, which is what Artie's saying. Artie's just shining a light on what he did. So what he's trying to do is go back to the root. He's trying to deflect onto these other
No, I
things.
know. I'm asking you. Later on, Artie does this thing where he forgets, or it might be purposeful. I'm not sure, but he creates this out for Howard. Like,
yes, he says, "Listen, one of my movie premiere, he called me up and he left a message on my answering machine. And he said that was the funniest it was ever. Blah blah blah. He basically just tries to placate Howard's ego in absentia because he's on the wrap-up show with Gary and they're filling up. They're basically responding to what happened to what we're listening to now, and he backtracks just enough so that Howard could say, "Oh, okay, well, you know, he's accepting he's wrong, but he's not actually saying he's wrong.
Yeah,
he's just doing whatever he can to fluff him up, I suppose."
Okay, so I get the question now. So what can happen is, so Artie, first off, this is his job. And he's paid pretty well. I mean, he's underpaid, but still, I mean, he's paid well to do this. What I would say to that is people that are in this dynamic where someone is abusive, they'll make excuses for them. And sort of the more like stereotypical stuff is like, oh, he only hits me when he's mad. Or I really did something wrong there, or she only acts this way when I do this, or he's not really this way. He's like, you see that really commonly, and I think that Howard's audience does this on a larger degree, which is another conversation.
Yeah.
But I think whenever there's an abuser and there's somebody dependent, especially on a livelihood or for whatever, people get into these relationships for different reasons, whether it's love, feelings of being, power dynamics. They will make excuses for the abuser, and they will start to curtail what actually happened in order for it to fit with a certain narrative where it doesn't have the same impact. So I think that it was partly that, and I think that it was partly also self-preservation, and that Artie's wanting to maintain his job, because I think at this point Artie's been with him long enough and knows the the wrath of Howard, and that, you know, if you cross him, it could go really bad, and you can wind up losing a lot. So I think it's a little bit of both. In that situation,
Scott Salem can empathize
without question.
Yeah, it's funny, amazing. You actually brought that up in the thread, Bob, about the abusive, like a battered woman syndrome kind of thing.
Yeah,
like making excuses for the abuser just to make things easier for yourself, at least short term. while you're putting out fires, I suppose. And Howard, if everybody wants to give another counterpoint, or like not counterpoint, but a corollary, when he fights with Richard and Sal in that big kind of blow up, and afterwards he goes on the wrap up show and he explains, I think they understood that they were, if you're in the workplace and you're having a fight with someone that's on a higher level than you in terms of stature, you want that to go away as soon as possible, because you're going to put yourself in a bad position, not necessarily because he's going to do anything, but because the dynamic changes in a bad way, and it ruins the show. Anyway,
on a major level too, because Howard has multiple lines of defense, so it's not even just him, and it's not even just the front line of Robin, and I don't want to bring it too much off track, but recently when talks of Beth and what's going on with her, the way that NPD people ingratiate themselves to others is through financial means, it's through connections. And for a lot of people, so let's take Beth, for example. Her family might be reaping the benefits of her being in this relationship with Howard, to where they're getting money, they're getting connections to here and there, they're getting flights. I actually don't know that much about that dynamic. Yeah. So what they'll do is they'll sustain the person in that relationship because they're actually gaining from it. So they'll start to make excuses for the abuser as well. And it becomes very overwhelming for the primary targets, because so many people have made excuses for the abuser because they're actually benefiting from them, that it becomes very hard for people who are being abused to leave.
So in that regard, there was very few comics that said, leave the Stern Show. I could think of two, Norm Macdonald and Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
The rest of them reaped the benefits that you're saying essentially Beth's family might be reaping because of her, awful marriage with Howard. Same thing. So a lot of comics are probably like, just stay on the show. And it's not just for Artie. It's for them too, because they get to all benefit from that connection.
You'll overwhelmingly see that those guys are not in the dynamic. Where Norm Macdonald is Norm didn't need Howard. Norm was a made guy. Norm had studio produced films. He was on SNL. He's a known guy, so he can say these types of things where he can go, Howard enabled them. Yeah, and so this is how entrenched you can get. And just showing people, this is an extreme level, of course, but even on more molecular levels, you can get very entrenched with them, especially when they have access to money or access to connections, to where even other people surrounding them that should be giving them good advice, they're benefiting on a tertiary level. They'll kind of keep people in those abusive relationships.
Mm-hmm. Enabling, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I didn't buy
He didn't know that day.
I think Artie's objecting to the whole framing of the fat thing.
All right, but how many times have we introduced them to girls? It's not about being fat; they're attracted to Artie.
The dial-a date wasn't. Oh, we're gonna get this freak friend laid.
On the air for me. Doing this on the air is an excuse to do it. Otherwise, it's creepy for me.
I think it's creepy regardless. Personally, I mean, it depends. It does depend on how you would do it, but. The last one, last time they did it for Artie, again, he proved to be a scam, and we did mention that in the previous episode. And the problem, do you think, Bob, this would have all been avoided if she was super fucking hot?
I think so. I think the fact that she really wasn't, and I felt like I kind of came off insensitive in the previous episodes about that, but yeah, she really wasn't. If it was like a really exaggerated thing, because comedy is exaggeration, right? So I think the fact that she wasn't kind of took away from it. If she was insanely hot.
If Bob's like basically saying, I feel like I was really, I'm sorry, but she just was a 3.
She was I think she was a Jersey 5 or something like that.
Yeah, I called her
A Pittsburgh
She's a
4.
Jersey 4. She's not a Jersey 4, but yeah, if she was like insanely hot, it would have been funny. It would have been like, okay, she just wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
I think you're right. I think that really added to this.
You know what she reminded me of? Like an extra in an Avril Lavigne music video from like the early 2000s. Like she was just that.
A walk-on goth chick.
Yeah.
Well,
I
maybe it's shallow to think of it that way, but I absolutely believe that if she had been like an 8, across the country, like a St. Louis 8, you name it, a Connecticut 8, I don't know, she would have been, it would fine. Like he would have had he would have had a problem with it. He still would have had a problem with the framing of, she's into fat guys, but he still would have fucking taken that,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think, I actually think that's.
But it would have came out eventually in a different way. We're not saying that the problems weren't there. It just wouldn't have happened if she was Pam Anderson. Right.
In this way, it's almost like, here, take this bone that we've gnawed on and chewed on, and you get sustenance from that, and then it really is like, here, we know you can't do any better, so here, fucking take this.
You're right. I think you're totally right. I think it's a great point, honestly.
So it didn't even occur to me, even though we did address the fact that, and Artie did address the fact that he can get hotter girls on the road easily. And also to take someone to task here, someone was explaining how, well, Artie, it's not like Artie was some kind of Casanova. No, it was strictly because he's got money that a lot of the girls would sleep with him, and because he's a comic, and because the bar for guys is way lower. Like we have a way like shorter hurdle to jump over in terms of desirability. Unfortunately, it sucks. It's a man's world that way, unfortunately. But he was reaping the benefits of a working, well-known, established comic, regardless of his actual talent as a comic. Sam.
That's such a guy revelation. Like I would have never, like this is one of those times where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I would have never thought of that.
So there's certain things, certain guys will definitely put up with. Like the hotter someone is, that's like, I know she's a kleptomaniac, but she gives like a fucking Hall of Fame blowjob. You know what I mean, or something like that, and we can rationalize just about anything based on. A level of, but she's a 10.
Yeah, well, it would have been ridiculous if the girl went in there and was like, it would have been like, oh, this is funny. Like this girl is way out of my league, but it was like, oh, yeah, she's not even close out of my league.
She's an Avril Lavigne leftover.
Yeah, basically. All right.
I'm talking about my own life. Like, I get creeped out, like, oh, I'm going to go meet some chick who wrote me a letter. It's like kind of like a cool way to screen it. It's good radio. And
also, it's a total stranger and anybody could be writing. You get a chance to preview her in a public forum where it's not dangerous or...
Exactly. It makes it sound like she's in a police lineup.
It could be the Zodiac Killer. We are previewing everything for you, Artie.
Yeah, exactly.
The strange... I can't even deal. It could be Jeffrey Dahmer, Artie.
Yeah, when Robin gets to DEF CON quivers...
Eileen Warnos could be writing letters. Thank God for us.
And she don't look like Charlize Theron in real life, guys.
I'm telling you, I'm sitting here thinking about your point, and you're totally right. I'm like, I think we're already sitting. It's like, wow, no, that's not in my level. Yeah,
she's into fat guys with like lasagna, like pizza sauce on their lapel, and with trailing crumbs of hero sandwiches, in their wake.
I meant by it. I confided with you, and you just bring shit up on the air. This stuff I don't tell you now because I know you now, and I know your move. You bring stuff on the air.
I've never brought up anything you said don't bring up.
Yes, you did.
Liar.
The whore $500 story. The time I told you that.
Whore $500.
Did you tell him that was in confidence?
Of course I told him. I said, I don't want this on the air.
I remember that bit. He did. Even if he did, he ended up telling the story himself anyway. Actually, no, Howard told the story, but he let him tell it.
No, he pushed it. He said, I have, but I Artie said not to tell it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring it up, and then Artie's going to feel bad and tell it, because that's what a good broy is.
Yeah, that was the way. You're right. Yeah. That was a funny story, I have to say. Someone said, "Did you tip her? Tip her. I want to throw her out a window."
You know what? You got selective memory.
All right, then I'm wrong. I apologize. I don't remember that.
I said to you, I don't want this on the air, and I told you that story.
No.
And then you went on there.
I went on the air and said, what? Artie, do you want to tell that story? I gave it up to you.
You kept fucking...
No, bullshit.
On the air. On the air.
On the air. Yeah, totally.
Well, by the way, guys, what's the other term for selective memory? What Artie just said.
Purposeful memory. Exact memory.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, exactly. Selective memory.
Bringing up something that he told me not to do.
And then I confided you in something about Dana on the phone, and you just blurted it out. And now I know that.
What was that?
Blurt it out again. No.
Sam.
And so did your wife, Beth. She just blurted it out during the better half. She's the same gaslighting pile of shit Howard is. Dana, you told me something in confidence, and she gave her the look of death. Yeah. And Dana was like, I told you that in confidence. And she's like, oh, I'm wearing an Abercrombie t-shirt, and I'm like 35.
They also did not even think to ask, like, should we take that out of that? Should we edit that out? They just left it in there.
Good. I hope they left that in there with her wine teeth. Fuck off, Beth.
That's incredible.
He did. Well, he did. He's like,
what did I say?
I remember looking at you like, how did you just say that? What the fuck was the issue? I was talking.
There was one thing. He's right. I think this might be it. Go ahead.
Of course it wasn't. I'm like,
all right, okay. I might have fucked up. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, but Howard, listen. But the point is, I would never in a million years think about doing that to you, and you do it, and you go,
you make it like I do it all the time. Bullshit.
It's funny. He admits he did something now.
Because it was that bad.
Yeah. But then he brushes over like, yeah, okay, so I fucked up. So what? It's nothing.
This argument is exactly how it would be like, by the way, to fight with somebody with narcissistic personality disorder with a monkey on your back. If anyone's wondering, this is what it must be like. It's impossible. So even if Artie's right, and he's been right this entire time, there's no winning. They will spin it and spin it and spin it until they find an avenue that they can walk the righteous path of I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. And they spin and spin and spin. They will find a way to be right.
And I think if all things being equal, and he already had the opportunity and he knew there was no reprisal, he'd fucking knock Howard out. He'd absolutely. He would have taken a swing.
Yeah, no, I mean, Sam is right. There's just, it's not Howard admitting. Narcissists will only admit when they can move it along. Okay, I might have fucked up. Let's keep on going. It's not, I fucked up, man. I shouldn't have said that.
There's no lingering.
Like those are two different things. Like, I fucked up, dude. I shouldn't have said that. You're right. Or yeah, I fucked up. All right, but what else you got? What else? Like, those are two different dynamics. Those aren't the same things going on in a conversation. And that's the only time a narcissist will apologize, is when they can facilitate the movement of the argument into their lane, and they can keep it going. That's the only time you'll ever hear a quote-unquote apology. They're never real apologies.
So is it like an MPD two-step to get back onto the abuse freeway?
Yeah.
From the apology off ramp rather. Mm-hmm. And so in this case, but I have a question with regards to that, Bob. Is it because that a long extended apology would ruin their false self, or is it because they literally can't accept that they actually did anything wrong? Like the apology is false to begin with.
It's both.
Okay.
I mean, it's that. Well, first off, if they do sincerely acknowledge that they did something wrong, that's a major blow to the false self. And then secondly, you're talking about Howard has done a meticulous job in ingratiating himself into a larger sort of almost patriarchal dynamic with a lot of these people. And he almost tries to be perfect at all times. And you're admitting fault. I mean, they can't do anything wrong. Like all you guys keep saying, they won't admit they're doing this. They can't. They don't have that capability. So when they apologize, it's almost like a quick cut your losses. It's almost like almost like a gambler type thing. Okay, we'll just cut this off. Yeah, you're right.
It's a ball.
Blah, blah.
It's you didn't get striked out. You had 4 balls. You walked a base.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly right.
So,
Sam.
But Howard, when you said so Artie, now he brought up the bigger picture, right? Howard now is tuned into the fact there are more factors going on than what is being brought up. So he's more clued into the bigger picture, right? Yeah. So when he's getting clued now into the bigger picture, that means more things for Howard to pull from, reference to, and talk about as excuses. And this is what he's doing.
So look at how the dynamic has changed, because Artie is trying to expand the scope, if we're being honest, into a larger thing that has affected, like, Artie's talking about him, but he knows that this is a dynamic, and he's like, I know your move. What he's saying when he says is, I know this is what you do with other people. This is a larger thing. And so Howard is trying to again and again, and I think that's probably why he admitted to a certain degree that what he did was wrong, was he's trying to say, okay, I see that this is expanding. I see okay, let me bring this back. Okay, maybe I fucked up. Maybe let's just keep bringing this back to me, or let's make this smaller. Let's make this about this thing, because Artie is continuously trying to take this to a larger level and saying, you do this to other people. You bring up things that other people don't want brought up. You bring up things like we're now kind of far removed from where this started from, which was the date. Mm-hmm. Artie's now bringing this into things where he's saying, I told you stuff about this, X, Y, and Z. You brought it up on the air. Like, whether right or wrong, my point is you brought those up, whether it was entertaining or it wasn't. There's certain social constructs that you've now violated, and you violate this with other people. And Howard, I think right now, is trying to bring it back to this one thing. He's going to have two tools. He's going to basically love bomb them and say, hey, I love you, I'm just trying to do this or that. Or he's just going to try to really get it focused on this isolated incident so that it doesn't go to this larger thing, because this is something he does with people on a larger scale, which all of us as super fans, we all know that he does this on a larger scale. And this is not an isolated thing. And even that recent article that you posted with the Scott Salem, one of the most telling things in that whole thing was Stuttering John said everybody falls from grace with Howard. And again, we're coming back to this idealization, devaluement, and discard, meaning, so what he was saying there is everybody eventually winds up discarded, because you will ultimately go through this cycle with Howard. So anyways,
and that's an article Sam and I are probably going to take apart separately in like a mini-sode or something.
Brutal article.
I didn't find it that bad, to be honest, because a lot of it is such old news, and but it was
to
perfect.
To us.
Yeah.
To you. Yeah. I mean, somebody who's not seasoned, that's bad.
Yes.
That's not good.
Many people here have told me things in confidence.
If I tell you something in person that you think would be so incredible for the air, you're going to figure out a way to pick it up.
I would say to you, Artie, can we talk about that on the air?
Yeah, you do that on the air.
Right. And if you say no, it doesn't go any further. People hear it, and all of a sudden, why is Artie being a fag? It's just ridiculous. Sometimes it seems like in retrospect, you could, after the fact. But this last thing, you just didn't even ask me. You just said it.
What Artie's saying here is right. And what he's not admitting, well, in a roundabout way, you've heard it during the exchange. Early on, he would have felt compelled to say something like that on the air just because Howard brings it up. Now, after 6 years on the show, he knows his stature's increased. He knows how important he is. He knows his value to the show. He can go after Howard a little bit, and he does have weight, pardon the expression, and he knows that people will go with him on this, except King Baby himself. Sam?
Yep.
He knows the fact that when that was brought up, Artie had a lesser status. So he knew exactly the manipulation and play of what he was doing. Bingo. And he went along with it. And he said, I don't want to tell the story. Howard brought it up on the air. And Artie, because he didn't have the same stature, went along with it. But now he's calling him to the court. And he's saying, fuck you. This is what you did then. This is what you're doing now.
It's funny. Yeah. It took him 6 years to get to this point. It took Allison, 20 years to get to the point of knowing exactly. And, that's probably because I already spent way more time with him than Allison did. But it's pretty amazing.
Hey, Beth.
What's that? Sorry.
Isn't it 20 years for those two?
No, yes, it was something very big to me.
Was it? What was it?
Yes. I don't want to say it again.
You don't remember?
Well, I remember it was something very big, and I don't want to say it.
If it's so big, what is it?
Well, why do I want to say it again?
You just fucking busted my balls.
You just remember doing it. You remember doing it. Did you not just say you remember doing it?
Yes, I did. But I know
you're admitting it.
But I know it was nothing.
You know what?
No, he doesn't.
Sorry, Sam?
He doesn't remember it was nothing. He remembers Howard remembers what it was, but because Artie is such in a tornado of his NPD bullshit, he also is on drugs. He can't remember. So he did remember, and he lost the thought. It was the hooker story, and he can't remember it right at this moment. And it's the Dana story, and he can't remember it right at this moment. But he knew what he was talking about.
He remembers it.
Yeah.
It was, though, what they want to do, and this is hard for anyone to understand, like, that hasn't really deep dived and dealt with them. They always want you on the hook, and they always want you vulnerable, and they always want to exploit you. And so what he's doing with Artie here is he knows it was so hard for Artie's, like, he won't bring this up again. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy's got to have balls to bring this up again. So I'm going to say, I don't remember it. What are you talking about? You have to say it again. Mm-hmm. You have to go through it again. You have to bring it up in front of all these people again for me to acknowledge it, even though he acknowledged, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah. But in order for me to remember what you're talking about, your fucking ass has to go through it again. It's like,
wow.
They constantly have you on defense. They constantly have a gun in your face, and they always, and everybody who's listening to this that knows dealing with these people, and my heart goes out to anybody that's especially been in a romantic relationship with anyone like this, because it's even worse than that. They always want you on the hook. They always want you on the hook. They always want you vulnerable. They always want you to agree to something. They're like lawyers. They're lawyers of all social constructs. Yeah. And so what he's telling Artie, I'll acknowledge this, but you have to go through that whole bullshit again in front of all these people for me to acknowledge it. That's what he's doing.
Trauma.
Yep.
Relive the trauma, and I don't think you'll do it. He's calling his bluff. So.
No, so you just were judge and jury in your head.
Yes.
Thought it was nothing to me, and you blurted it out. Okay.
No, he didn't. Did you just blurt it out? You didn't even ask him?
No, I said to him, "Can I say this?"
No, you did not.
Oh, you mean I just blurted it out?
Yes.
All right. Well, remember what it is if it's so fucking important.
You're admitting you did it.
I'm admitting I asked you if I could say it.
Oh my God!
But maybe I did.
You know what? This is such a lawyer thing. You're right. It's the technical thing. So I have the evidence, and I have it, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna get off on a technicality here.
Exactly.
So you submitted this evidence on the wrong date. So you were a few hours late, Artie. Too bad, so sad. I'm not going to do it. You filed too late, and even though it's exactly what you said. You're right. Keep going.
It's complete lawyer speak with these people.
Wow. And justice for Artie.
All bullshit aside, I don't even remember if I blurted it out or I asked you first. But if I did, what was the thing that's so fucking bothering you?
I don't feel like talking about
it. If I did. Right? He's admitted, but now it's if.
He's admitted multiple times, and he knows exactly what it was.
Yeah.
You don't remember.
You
what
can't
the fuck
even bring it up in your brain.
You won't even bring it up because you don't remember.
I told you that I was disappointed in Dana.
All right.
For not,
sticking by you.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a revelation?
He said it a million times.
Personal. People have different things that mean stuff to them. I don't know what means anything to you.
He's right about that.
Neither do we.
Yeah.
You know what we know means a lot to her? Friendlies and Blaze. Oh, wait. Never mind.
The Yule log.
But was that the only time, honestly?
This is how it came up on the air. He goes, how many times, Art, have you said to me that Dana didn't stick by you and she should have stuck by... And that was like getting hit with a bat.
Artie, how many times have I fucked up in the 7 or 8... How many years you been on this show?
Dude, if it happens once... Did
I ever reveal any...
Artie's exactly correct.
That's right.
It just has to happen one time. And then you go, this person cannot be trusted. And it's... Now that we're hearing it with this kind of... Well, the time so many years later, it really is an amazing piece of audio, as you say, gaslighting, but also this NPD. I mean, hence why we're highlighting it, guys, and why it's taking the bulk of 3 episodes to get through it, because it's a case study. It really is.
Yeah.
And it also really is itself. I don't know about you, Fillmore, but how reflective is it of people we maybe have come across paths with that have similar characteristics?
Similar characteristics, like personality traits, like Wiggy, absolutely, 100%.
Where it's literally eye-opening in so many regards.
Oh yeah, I mean, and hindsight they say is 20/20. If you knew all this stuff well in advance, which Artie, unfortunately didn't, you could save yourself so much grief. And anybody. I mean, so hence, guys, we're not doctors. We're not even close to doctors. But to make a study of it, and you may find you can weed out some people in your life that are doing you harm that you don't even realize it. So
pluck them out.
Yeah. Anything that I say, on this podcast, if anyone wants to debate it or anyone wants to look into what I'm talking about, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm the greatest psychologist. I mean, I don't have a PhD, but I'm confident enough that what I talk about, in particular with this personality disorder, anything that I say that you might disagree with, like, I'm definitely open to hearing the other side of it, and I think that my case with Howard is fairly strong. So, I mean, I'm open to hearing any other side.
Until you tell me there's shapeshifters and you lead a band in Smashing Pumpkins, I don't believe you.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Twice.
What's the second time?
The $500 hooker thing. I
will go to my grave saying you're full of shit.
He asked before that.
That's right.
Gave permission.
I don't even remember him telling me that off the air, honestly. And if he did, I know I would never tell it.
50 people knew that when you were telling me. I was the only one who didn't know.
Me and Casey.
Let me see what this is. What is this? What are you giving me, Gary?
It's a court deposition.
We keep a log of the show. Not an exact.
This is the funny part. I believe this was the time when they were ripping off Mark's Friggin, and they're actually going to go and they put it on their. They used to do it. They probably since changed it, but Jason used to cut and paste from Mark's Friggin and the write up and put it in their log on their website, and it was verbatim. Such assholes. They wouldn't pay him a fucking nickel for Mark Mercer.
Me out here.
It's not an exact transcription, but it's a log. So when Jason listens to the show, he sort of summarizes.
Good. And now we can go back and get the tape. But go ahead. What is this?
Well, so that's the day with Artie and the hooker story.
All right. Artie Lang. I'm just reading this. I've never seen this before. Said that Howard says that Artie has had the best story from Las Vegas. That's all I said.
All right.
Howard wants to tell it so bad. Artie doesn't want to tell the story. Howard won't tell it unless Artie will let him.
That's totally Mark's Friggin. It's because it's such matter of fact shit.
Okay, right.
Howard says that Robin. Howard says that Robin is keeping stuff secret too. Howard won't tell unless Robin gives him permission.
Wonder what that was.
Yeah, really. I just probably did that to trick Artie. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, really.
I was a rookie back then.
Anyway, but the fact of the matter is,
that's exactly right.
I was a rookie back then, a.k.a. you're Howard Stern, and you pressure me into it.
Yeah. And you're my boss. I just got the gig, and I don't want to lose the gig.
Yeah.
And he's you're auditioning for the for the next contract. So exactly.
Yep. I'm going on record with that. Already, it happened one time.
You're a very influential, powerful guy, especially on this show. When you bring that up, and it's a funny story, I was in a relationship with Dana at the time.
I'm going to move on.
It's still
That's BS.
Sam?
I'm going to move on. Why? Because we're going to get to something somewhere. We're going to actually get to the heart of the matter. I mean, I know it would be quickly shoved off the way that they do so magnificently and so seamlessly that he's done for this entire conversation. But it is incredible how when Artie pinpoints something, they sweep it away so fastidiously.
Well, Artie was about to go in. You exploit people. He's saying, you're so powerful. I'm on this thing. You're going to do that. That's quote for quote what's going on in that clip that we did. Like he's saying, you're so powerful. You're putting me on the spot. I don't have a choice. Like, and again, this goes out to any abuse victim. Like, part of the reason why I'm not, I don't know. Like I get
we don't need to keep
people...
we don't have to keep making PSAs to abuse victims.
No. It's not a PSA, but like I get where he's coming from. Where it's like, dude, you're the king of radio. Like I was a young guy at that time. Like I didn't have a choice.
Right, like Artie's Artie's literally #MeToo. You know?
Yeah.
He is.
And that's what NPD people, they thrive on those relationships where they can they really have you over the barrel. And like that's kind of what Artie's alluding to. He's like, okay, I play ball, but you guys know that there was a different dynamic going on. Like we weren't all hanging out drinking beer. Like you guys know what the fuck was going on. I was a new guy. There's a story. You guys put me on the spot. I didn't have a whole lot of a choice. Like, you know, like that, I mean,
it's like that confession game where they all admitted to like stupid things, and Artie goes, I put, cream on my stretch marks to hide them. He talked about all this. I cried at a Michael Jackson
it's a
concert.
never have I ever. Never have I ever.
Oh, Lord.
You think I hate you, and you're wrong. You're fucking wrong.
You're not my bro, that's for sure.
No, I'm not gonna sit here and let you think that I hate you because that fucking pisses me. That pisses me off.
It's fine. I'm just a guy you work with. I'm just a guy you work with.
I hate this part because now it's all like I got to soothe the fucking wounded pelican's wing.
You know why I hate it? Because Artie bit on the bait, and he's so selfless that he saw what was going on and he bit on the bait, and now he's in with the sharks.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny you just said that. I literally took a breath where I was just about to go into this full-on hate rant right now, and I just was stopped because Fillmore and you, and I have that same guttural reaction where I'm like, you fuck. You're gonna turn this all around, and I'm like,
you just had him. You had him,
and I don't know how that. I guess you're right because I'm not stupid, but it's just people who really care about human beings and other people and actually have real feelings. Robin, go fuck yourself.
Because
my reaction, even though I've heard this so many times, just.
And you know what's so crazy when Artie's talking about this stuff, like the guy is so selfless. He's talking about like I feel like he's talking about a bigger picture. You know, he's like, dude, you do this with a lot of guys, man. Like you really put a lot of people on the spot. You really bring up things you shouldn't bring up, like, and I'll take that. But I think that you do that with a lot of people. You shouldn't do that. And he did it in such a calculated and gentle way because he knows how delicate Howard is. But I think that he was saying, like, dude, you do this to a lot of people. Like, this is fucked up. This is not right. This is not the way that you deal with people.
And I bet you $10. I bet you $10 that his psych, his Shrink, Howard Shrink, never went to him like this, never confronted him on it in any way close to this, where he'd actually have to take accountability for his actions or inactions, as the case may be. Yeah, absolutely. And so, so for Howard to have to go through this, he must have went through like 12 sessions extra with the shrink, like
Howard Shrink. Oh, I was just going to say, Howard's therapist is listening to Swedish House Mafia and Khan on a yacht.
One of my favorite. I don't know what it was from, but someone said Howard's shrink told him he talks too much.
He said it. I think he said it.
I've never heard that. I've never heard it.
Work with. You told me that today. I'll play back the tape. I'm not your friend. You said I'm not your friend. This is your quote.
No. I'm not your friend. Look, we were in the heat of an argument. I made fun of the word bro thing.
All right. I take bro back. I'm not your friend. I work with you. That's it.
But one more thing here.
That's it.
Well, one more thing.
It's fine. I know where it's at.
I can't work against the whole thing.
I considered us. Come on.
Yeah,
you did one more thing.
Yeah, oh God, there's always one more thing. This is like Artie saying that the girl at the bottom of the pit in The Silence of the Lambs is like your girlfriend going, slow down, it's a red light. She's in the passenger seat, when she's going, oh, my mother will give you whatever you want, just get me out of here. Robin is kind of like the chick in the pit.
1,000%. She is so goddamn annoying. We can keep going.
Yeah.
The whole basis of this thing is having fun with you when I come in the morning, and that's based on the fact that we're friends. I'm not saying we're not friends.
Thought we were friends.
I'm not saying.
You did say that.
He said we're not friends.
No. I made fun of the word bro.
We're not
That's what I did.
We're friends. We're not friends. Do you want to go through the rest of the
I made fun of the word fat. I mean, come on, pal. If it bugs you or not.
What?
Go ahead, Sam.
Exactly. Artie's exasperated. What is exactly how anyone with a brain cell and a heart and a soul would feel about this argument.
Yes.
You are so fucking mind-fucking the audience and me and everyone. If you are making this about what you're going to try to make this about, if you're going to circle back and make it about this, fuck you.
Language.
I think inherently Artie also realizes right now at this point, because we're 44 minutes into the clip that's actually an hour long and just a little bit of change, that he knows that if he has the stomach for it, this will go on for hours and hours and never be resolved because Howard won't let him get the upper hand.
Yeah, they're beating him up on language though too. It's just
semantics.
It's all semantics and technicalities.
Right.
It's lawyer speak. It's so you have to have a certain amount of, you have to be here at a place and time. Well, what place? Where? You didn't say where, so I can put you at any place. It's completely lawyer speak.
Yeah,
and he's so amazingly specific.
And that's MPD. You are always on the hook. You are always. I mean, there's always something.
Yeah,
they always have you. Yep, they always have you in some kind of technicality.
Yeah.
Said she was into fat guys. What am I going to tell you?
Listen, you're so desensitized by the bullshit on the show that what happens here are scud missiles to other people, and you got to just deal with it.
There's one thing I want to address here, Mr. Lang.
Go ahead, Mrs. Rivers.
I'm not a Mrs., okay?
Ms. Whatever the fuck you are.
Good.
Yeah, we know you're
fucking
not a
sow.
We know
you fucking miserable sow, lying cunt, miserable fuck.
Just a quick question to all the listeners when you do hear this eventually. Was this your number one moment of hating Robin more than anything else? I'd say a good majority of them will say yes, absolutely. They fucking hated her for this. More than anything else.
You know when people say, oh yeah, slay, slay. Robin doesn't slay. She literally slits her own throat every time she fucking talks. It's insane. I hate her.
You are sitting there saying Howard influences you, and you tumble every time he says, well, can we bring it up on the air? That's BS.
That's the Jeff the Drunk defense.
Yes.
Everybody makes
No. I said it happened one time.
He can't resist your power.
I said it happened one time when I was new on the show, and I was, first of all, obviously I don't give a fuck about hook.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
What is this? The dream team? We got Cochran, Kardashian.
Well, he's got Marsha Clark hair. So
seriously, like it's the Jeff the Drunk defense. Like what? What? It is. It's crazy lawyer speak.
Mm-hmm.
And they are now circling him, and Robin's in with this too. She's Robert Shapiro. And then there's Johnny Cochran, and they're all circling him.
Anybody listening to this that thinks they might be in a relationship with one of these people,
you'll end up like Nicole.
They love to get you on the hook.
Yeah,
they
get a relation.
Technically, get you on the hook.
That's right.
What they do.
So leave or develop a good, close personal relationship with your local pharmacist and have at it.
Just leave.
You have to develop a better rhyme for if the glove don't fit, you must quit.
If Beth don't shit, you must quit. All right.
Right before me and Dana became a couple, and I was going out with somebody.
And I said, you have a Vegas story. It's so great. I said, do you want to tell it? And if you said no, that's it. Over and done with.
End of story.
And you loved it, and everybody loved the story, and it became part of
it. And you use it. It's a funny fuck-up story.
I've seen you use that on Conan or Letterman or one of them.
I never told that story on Letterman or Conan.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
You know what imagery I have in my head? You know in the movie The Birds, when it's the school scene, and all of a sudden, all the birds just descend upon. It's like these NPD people are these fucking flesh-eating crows, and it's like just massive insanity, and you're just walking thinking I'm gonna be fine, I'm just gonna straight and narrow, just nobody looking, and it's like
at the beginning the Photoshop in my head was Moses parting the Red Sea, Artie Moses, and on the other side of the sea is like you see these big NPD initials like in the water forming.
Yeah.
And he's like clearing a path through it, but he doesn't make it all the way through because now he's as you said, Bob, very astutely, he took the bait and now he's trying to placate Howard's fucking ego. And what this will develop into, which we'll not go into, guys, as I said, is the ensuing wrap-up show in which he tries to walk back things and try to basically make amends because he's where Richard and Sal were in the fight they had with him, and he's as far below Wiggy as they are below Artie, and they had to sort of make amends as well. And we're not going to play too much more of this, guys, because we will. I mean, we are now, but we don't finish this full hour clip because now they're going into circles, and we're actually kind of mining old material. Let my mortadelle go.
His persona has been very beneficial for him.
Oh yes.
Yeah, when I'm dead, I'm gonna be fucking beneficial.
Oh, stop it.
Well,
Anthony, go ahead. You're on the air.
Listen, I'm not complaining about anything I ever did or said on this show.
Artie, let's clear the air. Let's not make it so weird.
Let the callers. Let the callers do it for me. Let them stick up for me.
Yeah, they're always there when he needs like a little padded room to bounce around in. Like let's when they need a bouncy house to just kind of play in, not a padded room. That's the callers.
You need a ball pit. Right
now is even good for the air.
Yeah.
Secondly,
and so is Artie.
Something.
Secondly.
No, I don't think that.
No, I think it is. And secondly,
it probably is.
It is. It's good radio.
I just wish we could.
Secondly, I'm going to patch it up. I'll patch it up.
Who's got time for this off the air?
Who's got time for
Who's got time for this off the air? It's fucking
you.
Skinless cat wonder piece of shit.
Non-fat ass having furniture.
Architectural Digest nightmare.
Ouch.
Green drink fuck.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
You're not my friend. Here's the thing. I understand what you're saying. You're not comfortable. You take it that my motive in all of this is to make you uncomfortable because that I think is good radio.
No, your motive is to make good radio, okay?
No,
now, if Marty being uncomfortable is part of
I can make good radio out of a piece of shit.
I know.
No, you can't. And we got 10 years of evidence.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sam.
Did you hear last week? You failed.
You listen to Rob, the Ronnie dildo.
Your dad. We get it. Your dad. Whatever, didn't kiss you enough. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about at this point. Jesus.
Bob, so when John was writing help, he essentially was asking for help?
Jesus Christ.
That was me. I was writing help. When I was listening to the show, I was writing help.
Bob's broken nail was on the side of the cave. It was scratching out.
When Howard was talking about how his what the fuck did he say? His paintings were worth millions.
Yeah.
and I was like, are you painting your signature on a check? Because that's worth fucking millions, and I'll definitely take one.
He's painting on stacks of thousands.
We should get a Raven.
Yeah, he has no talent.
No.
He's almost completely worthless. I don't even know. I know we're sidetracking. I hear these new shows. I'm just amazed. Like, yeah. We're digging now, and I'm like pulling these nuances out of these things.
Five more years.
When I hear these new episodes, I'm like, what am I? Is this an actual medical clinic? Like this is that bad.
We do an autopsy. Every breakdown is a new autopsy.
It really is. It's Dr. Bodden for NPD. Do you see though how Howard got in the low register voice with Artie, where he's like, "Listen, I was really trying to," and the second Artie's like, "No." Then he goes back to, "See, I was trying." Howard tried so hard to get Artie to believe he cared in this low register voice, like the audible volume of his voice would make a difference, and Artie's like, "Bullshit."
It was like that. It was like that bit Richard Pryor had about how you can't outfight a woman, you have to outthink them. And so when you're fighting, just, hey babe, just wait, fuck all this arguing. You know what I mean? Just sit, take your bag, pack it up, put your shit in the bag. But that bag gonna be big enough? Because you can use one of mine. It's just, no, what do you mean? I'm trying? I just wanted to be real, So we started off as human beings. I want to end that way here. All you have to do is find another way out of here other than that door. Because you try to leave me, bitch, I'm gonna kill your ass. Now put the motherfucking bag down.
It's true.
It's accurate. And Howard's a fucking rat. And Artie knew he's a rat.
Yeah, total.
He's a rat.
I love Bob right now. Bob is just spectacular.
That's 3 IPAs, and we get Bob Venom. It's all right. Yeah. No, it's good.
Chicago Bob is
Chicago. Would you prefer that from now on going forward instead of Bob D, just Chicago Bob? Okay.
I don't need
Bobby Chicago.
Shit, you're making great radio.
I did this. I took this segment because A, you're a major player on the show. B,
I'm fat.
I would do it.
And disgusting.
No. It was kind of cool that this chick dug you.
It was kind of cool. He makes it sound like, it was fascinating that she could love such a horrendous, ugly, corpulent, tubby piece of shit like you.
Yeah.
Fillmore, it wasn't cool. It was cool.
Yeah, cool. K-U-L-L.
Wasn't it the last episode when Bowie comes in? He's like, "Hey, we got the female Artie. She said she's addicted to drugs."
We did that.
Wow, great. Hey, let's lead off with my strongest suit.
Best foot forward.
Great. I mean, why not just start off with
drunk?
Yeah, I said it. It's perfect. It's
right. This
Amy
is what you
Winehouse and Pete.
Exactly.
And a guy who was on this show, married and single, I always got off on meeting chicks.
But don't you know, can't you see how someone might be different than you?
Understood. I get it. So
Okay.
I stand corrected. I apologize for that, and it will never happen
But I
again.
don't want to be a whiner and say, stop doing
No.
it. Do it.
It's
I don't
fine.
You did
Because
it.
it's not
now
that
if you do
important.
it, it'll be the greatest thing ever.
Artie,
I'm
it's not that important. Wait, it's not that important to me. I thought it would be fun for you and a good segment. The fact of the matter is, it wasn't fun for you.
Oh God, it was fun for us though.
Listen to this emotional torture, everyone.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Poor, you know what? No wonder why. She's literally mainlining Lucky Charms.
Yeah, Beth. Yeah, exactly. Well, she does have a spoon. The needle's coming up next.
Listen, I don't feel bad for you, whore, but seriously, I get it.
Yeah.
Leave.
It won't.
Yeah, green clovers, purple horseshoes, orange diamonds.
Leave. Bitch, get a fucking set and leave.
Yeah, set.
Happen again. I don't need that. I've got a full agenda.
But here's why you're good at what you do. Because, even if I didn't get into it, it would have been entertaining anyway
Right.
to watch me squirm.
I thought
So
you would love
who
it.
gives a
I
fuck?
thought
Either
you-
way, it's good
I
radio.
thought underlying you're going, hey, thank God, I'm meeting a chick.
I really
That's
wasn't.
it.
What?
Okay.
The truth, I
And
wasn't
you're different
really.
than I am.
Sam?
He didn't think that. He didn't think, thank God I'm meeting a chick. That's the voice of Howard called manipulation.
I was already being uncomfortable as part
I
of
can
a-
make good radio out of a piece of shit.
I know.
You understand?
I'm a piece
I don't
of
need-
shit. You're making great radio.
I did this. I took this segment because A, you're a major player on the show. B,
I'm fat.
I would do it.
And
no,
disgusting.
no,
Gross.
no. It was kind of cool that this chick dug you. I, as a man and a guy who was on
Sam.
Do you think it was purposeful? He said, I could make radio out of a piece of shit. Or do you think Artie was taking that too hard? Because he's like, I'm a piece of shit.
I think Artie just spun a joke out of it, and Howard just self-praising as normal, you know.
Like, what was that line they kept using back and forth? Like, Ralph would say something along the lines of, he could read the phone book and be entertaining. All the people are there are completely irreplaceable, but if Howard was there, he'd still be fun. I'm like, boy, haven't we so proven that's not the case?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
how many opportunities has he been given that he has the biggest stars in the world that he could ask anything, or he could just, he could do anything he wants on the radio. He's, Howard Stern, and what has he done with it? He made the most boring radio this year known to man.
Right. And if I would argue to those people who are still fans, I don't know, but both of you, that if you want to hear what he's like without all the people around him from way back when, just watch any network appearance, like any talk show appearance, when he doesn't have writers helping him out. And then other than that, like just listen to the show anytime after, 2013. Let's continue.
this show, married and single, I always got off on meeting chicks.
But don't you know, can you
Who
see
are
how
into
someone
me.
might be different than you?
Understood. I get it. So
Okay.
No.
I apologize for that, and it will never happen
But I
again.
don't want to be a whiner and say, stop doing
No.
it. Do it.
It's
I don't
fine.
know.
You did
Because
it.
it's
Listen,
not
now
that
if you do
important.
it, it'll be the greatest thing ever.
Artie,
I'm
it's not that important. Wait, it's not that important to me. I thought it would be fun for you and a good segment. The fact of the matter is, it wasn't fun for you.
Oh God, this is interminable.
It is.
Yeah, that's
It
why.
is.
This way, guys,
And-
it is a slog. Go ahead, Bob.
And again, it's projection, and Artie's just going, can't you see somebody's fucking different? Like Howard wants the whole thing to just no one to have autonomy. Just everything is just the way that he thinks, and you've got to be on board with it, and you've got to think how he thinks, and you can't entertain. And again, I don't really think Artie was being a whiner or anything like that. He just had an opinion on it, and that was enough for them to be upset.
Yes, and upset the apple cart. Yeah, Sam.
Maybe there must be some sort of narcissism that goes into people who want to be celebrities or in power or,
Yeah, absolutely.
in the public eye. So this makes sense to me that so many people who are in the public eye and do have power, they also don't listen to the other side. They also don't like to hear anything but their own voice. They also never think they're wrong. And I think that's a really big fucking problem.
Yeah,
Bob?
and they also manicure their public image at a severe level. But one thing I wanted to point out that's it's a little bit of a darker aspect of people who get involved with someone who has MPD, kind of going back to what I was saying, was Artie just had an opinion. And people that are exposed closely to people with MPD for long periods of time, they suffer a lot of depersonalization because even something that small, having your own opinion or having a thought that doesn't go along with this constant narrative, it's not considered a part of the program. And people that are subjected to that abuse suffer consequences for doing that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people start to not have their own opinion. They start to lose who they are. And it's really common with people that have been subjected to abuse from people with MPD that they suffer this sort of, what you'll hear very frequently, if not the most frequently, is I forgot who I was. I don't know who I was. Not that Artie reached this extent. I'm just using this as an example because what Artie did was so minor. But this is a great example of what happens on a larger scale with people who are involved in an intimate level with someone with MPD.
Yep, Sam?
Well, two observations that you said that. Tim Sabian said once he was let go for wanting to take care of his parents, after coming out of it, after a few weeks, he said it was like being, like reborn. Your priorities, you realize that you were stuffed up somebody's asshole for so long. I mean, that's my terms, not his. But,
Is that clinical term?
And again, it's like a cult. It's like they over time destroy your sense of who you are because they don't want you to have a mind. They don't want you to have these things, even on the most subtle level, because they need to fill that hole in with what their narrative is, what their image is, what their false self is.
Mm-hmm. Well, is that why they use the script, do you think, so much now? Because he doesn't want anyone challenging that. So a script means you better stick to what the hell I want. You better not even have a thought of your own.
It's the script, and it's constant, again, the stuff that comes up with his dad. You take that and you blow that up. It's this constant, lies need a lot of conditioning. They need to be told again and again and again. And you see this with Howard, and this is another one of the ways that I think he sort of abuses audiences. They will do this to people in that it's like propaganda. You have to hear it over and over and over. And that's why Howard is just basically a broken record in a lot of regards. It's just over and over the same things until you start to adapt to what he's saying, or he's brainwashed you into actually thinking that, or just establishing in your mind, this is sort of the narrative here. This is what we roll with. This is what everybody rolls with. This is what you need to do to be a part of this. Like a cult leader.
Well, I was going to say it's akin to a cult on so many levels, not to mention the fact that he's got NDAs for a lot of the staff and has in the past, like not only controlling the narrative, but controlling it from beyond the job. So they leave or they get fired or whatever. No, that they must be silenced. It can only be, this narrative is the only one that's allowed to survive. So when we get these things like the Richie Wilson interview, where you hear stuff that you wouldn't never heard from before from anybody, it's so illuminating because that's something he would absolutely not want out there.
Won't happen again. I don't need that. I've got a full agenda.
But here's why you're good at what you do. Because, even if I didn't get into it, it would have been entertaining anyway to watch me squirm.
I thought you would love it.
Who gives a fuck? Either way, it's good.
I thought underlying, you're going, hey, thank God, I'm meeting a chick.
I really was.
That's it. Okay. You're different than I am. Then you're different than I am.
To tell you the truth, that broad isn't in the league of any of the chicks I'm dating.
I didn't know.
We said that too many times.
Yeah.
And that's at the root of it. I mean, you brought in this fucking dish rag and you built her up to be, I don't know, just
like Carmen Electra, and she's basically a fucking Avril Lavigne skunk.
On top of that, Artie points out the manipulation tactics, like, hey, I was fucked either way. If I didn't want it and I called it out right away, you'd have watched me and tortured me and watched me. Like I'm in lose-lose with you. Again, the frustration of people who deal with them.
That's kind of, yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Look at what he did with Fred. Fred went along with the bit and actually got fucked and met Allison, and he still got tortured.
Oh yes, and that never really ended. I mean, and that's why you never saw Allison really on the show again until way later, because well, she was a fan. She knew what was in store for her anyway. But that's why I kind of really wanted to do the actual appearance of the chick and to do the video walkthrough, because it's so uncomfortable. It's so painfully uncomfortable because Artie does not want anything to do with that shit. And they're trying to crowbar it, and it's unnatural. And you guys know that feeling when you're trying to crowbar something that doesn't fit. It's awkward, like for everybody involved.
Yeah.
I kind of equated it to, because Artie's like super not doing well at that time. He looks like hell.
Oh.
Imagine being hungover as Christ as you've ever been, and somebody's like, I want to introduce you to someone new, and they're like right in front of you as you're like chugging, Gatorade and eating Motrin. Hello.
That's a good point. Maybe that one thing, that I talked about, you just get slapped every day, and then one day you sit. Maybe it's just, if you go in the most hungover you've ever been, and you've just had it, and you're strung out, maybe you just pull that card then. Maybe you're just like, you know what? Fuck you, dude.
Not today.
Yeah.
Of all days, exactly.
Totally.
Who cares?
I care.
But maybe she would
you had to go out with her. What is wrong
when
with
she
you?
calls me tonight.
You were again. Now Howard compelled you to give your phone number to her.
You could have said, "Listen, I think she's a nice girl. She's too young."
Robin, Howard's doing fine in this argument by himself. All right.
No, but you're making ridiculous statements. I'm trying to help you shore up your arguments. They're ridiculous.
Bob.
Never mind. That just absolved what I was about to say. It's fine.
Shore up his arguments.
She's just helping him out. She's just helping him out.
Oh, okay. Like that. My bad, Robin.
I disagree. They're not ridiculous. It's how he feels. Let me sum this up.
He was forced to give his phone number. Give me a break.
And if this conversation didn't happen, I would have just bottled this up like everything else, and we would have moved along.
Here's my.
Go ahead, Bob.
And by the way, she's sitting here like, hey, Artie, nobody made you do anything about it. But, like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? You're on a goddamn, like, nationally syndicated show with, like, the most powerful guy in radio sandbagging you, who has direct control over what you do. Like, it's not exactly like they just, like, met out for lunch for coffee. Like, he completely got sandbagged. He was completely compelled to comply with everything that was going on. Howard's his boss.
Well, not nationally syndicated, by the way, at this point, but I know what you mean. This is the second year of Sirius, and people are. It's what you can't go on there and not perform. Already, that's basically him going on strike on the show if he doesn't go through this shit. He knows that. Sam.
Also, where's he gonna go? So, like, even if they were having this argument, what is he just gonna get up and walk out like Robin?
And then you get brutalized 20 times harder. And then it goes on for weeks.
He should have pulled that sleeping bit earlier. He should have just brought out that bed thing and slept there.
That would have been
hilarious. Just snored.
You know what? He should have just did it like, a high school thing. Like, just put your arms folded, put your head down, and say, fuck it. Just take a nap. You don't need this shit. Or you could be like Robin, where it's like, hey, were you late for the book signing? I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Or it'd be like Jackie when the E Show, when he didn't get his contract for the E Show, just turn off the lights. I'm not here today. Okay, we don't see a silhouette in the background. That's fine. There's no ambient light in the studio. That makes perfect sense. It really is like a kid hiding his face behind the couch, but you see the rest of him. You can't see me, mommy.
That's bad hide and seek.
Exactly.
Your feet.
First time I'm honestly telling you, hey, I felt weird about that.
Here's my apology.
Why would we let you bottle it up?
Me. Here's my apology to you.
I wouldn't have brought it up.
First of all, I didn't realize that you were really uncomfortable with it. I thought that you, like me.
He means I didn't care if you were uncomfortable with it. I didn't realize it. Well, it's both.
I didn't realize We've only been talking about how uncomfortable this makes him for the last 2 hours.
Fucking a human impersonator.
Could, say, oh, gee, this is really creepy. And then meanwhile, it kind of takes the creepiness out of meeting a new chick. I love meeting new chicks.
A complete stranger.
By the way, why is it creepy to meet a new person, anybody? Like, why does it have to be uncomfortable? Just because you're uncomfortable meeting any other human, like he thinks every person he meets is like the Unabomber.
I know,
right?
And Artie is he's so socially inclined and extroverted and just
I just you're right. I like the adjective creepy. Why would it be creepy? Because you look like Norman Bates's mother when you go out and you fucking or you don't know how to talk to people. So you're a fucking creep.
Imagine like Howard at a I don't know, just like a bar or something, and someone literally drops down a shot for him to drink. He probably thinks that's like, I don't know, cyanide and all. Like this would throw him for a loop. Like, what the fuck is that? Who gave that? What is that? I don't want that. Get away from me. So this is the way he's coming off, and he can justify it as much as he wants. He can try his best, but it just sounds hollow, especially given what we've already heard. So let's continue with the ugliness.
I'm telling you, that was my motivation. You can believe it or not. So I apologize to you for offending you, and I assure you that I will not do it again. I understand your concern.
I don't deny that.
And I know you would, and I know that you would even go through it for the show, which shows you what a great.
Of course I would, and I would do it again.
I was going to say friend, but not a friend, but a great employee of the show.
He's a good worker.
You're a good worker. And the fact that you would go through it is good.
This is such bullshit.
What mental torture.
Exactly.
He has to tack on that thing after every apology, and it won't happen again. Right. It's just like he just can't apologize to the dude.
No, absolutely.
He just can't.
It reminds me of somebody else. I can't put my finger on it, but they just can't ever say they're wrong.
Exactly.
Or lost.
Yeah.
The most heart-wrenching hour I've ever had to go through.
Of course, this is terrible. But I feel bad.
Obviously, you had some things you needed to communicate that you weren't going to do. You're going to just sit there and bottle up.
Well, this thing happened yesterday, so it does. It lingers for a little while.
I feel better now.
And I don't deny that your motive could have been, hey, look, if a sidestep is Artie bangs a hot chick, that's great. But that was it. Your first motive is, no matter what happens, Artie feeling great, Artie being embarrassed, fucking. My first motive is to make a good radio segment.
That's exactly it. So, and he said that that was the first thing out of his mouth. A, it'll be good radio. B, that was it. That was that's the words from his mouth. Sam.
But you can't hit these narcissists with the truth. I'm learning that too this week, by the way. I'm not bringing up the whole saga, but that Ilaria Baldwin bitch, she couldn't admit it either. Instead of saying, yeah, you're right, I faked an accent for 10 years, she's still holding on to this false narrative. Like, we caught you. You know what I mean? And this is the same thing. You're telling Stern to his face exactly what's happening. He's like, what do you mean? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's such fuckery.
Part of the reason why I wanted to do this series with you guys is just for exactly what you guys both mentioned, because dealing with these people, this is all what's in public, and you can only imagine privately some of Howard's relationships, and it's very taxing. It's very traumatizing. People wind up on substances. People wind up, almost with PTSD for many years, trying to figure out what happened. So there is kind of a science to it, and that's what I'm trying to show here. It is very nuanced, and they do operate in very covert kind of ways. And, again, and you see it with this bro fight, which is one of the best examples, is everything is, I keep saying this over and over again, but everything's couched in plausible deniability. So Howard's able to make all these excuses, and Artie's able to say, you were saying this, but you really meant that. And then he's able to just go, oh, you guys, no, I was just saying this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But this was the first time I think you saw, no, you were saying something else. And this sort of paradigm, especially now with that, with the recent Robin dust up over the what's her name? Simone
Dinnerstein, yeah.
Yeah. And we're even King of All Blacks was like, no, you were talking to Robin. Like when what you were saying, you were talking to her. Like, this is how coded everything is with them. And they really need to bring you into their world and train you and groom you to how to take this abuse, so that when it comes out to the public, everything can be denied away. This is a true abuser, and you see these patterns with people even outside of MPD, that are criminals, frankly.
The thing is funny. I'll bring you back to. Thanks for bringing that one back, because that's actually it had escaped my memory for a little bit, because Raven and I had fun with that one, sort of fun in a demented way, with the Simone Dinnerstein thing. Robin didn't actually defend her until after she was given shit, so she didn't feel the need to be. She didn't feel she was attacked because it was all someone else. So she, being a narcissist herself, would be like, "Well, it's not me. He's going after her. I don't give a fuck." That was even more telling, like her response after the fact, when it meant nothing.
Well, Robin absolutely at this point understands the language, and she knew that everything that was said there was about her. And so when she came back with her great retort, and she pointed out all these things that she had been that musician had been accomplished in, what did Howard do? He immediately applied everything to himself. He said, "You're right. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. Because she was talking to him."
Yes.
They're having this MPD conversation in front of all of us that even the most layman is starting to catch on. Like, you guys are talking to each other right now. Like, even like if we would have started this series with these later shows, like that would have been easy pickings. Once we catch up to that, this will be effortless. But
after that Simone Dinnerstein, Wendy would call up and be like, "I know what's going on."
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
You'd be embarrassed. Honestly, I just you think it was kind of like funny. This chick's real into you, and then like, hey, if you're really into her, you know what? I swear to you, on the stack of Bibles on my children's life.
My point is,
that's another one of his tells, a stack of Bibles. He must have more Bibles stacked up than the fucking the I don't know the Library of Congress.
You know what? I was thinking about a line that you had. I can't remember if it was in this show or I think it might have been in a recent one where you were like, he had to swear on his kids.
Yeah, that was Sam.
It was over something really innocuous, and you're like, how fucking low is your credibility with the people that you're talking to? If you have to swear on your kids over like whatever, like listen, if I came in here and I was like, this guy, I walked outside today on my way to Target, a guy pulled over, handed me $15,000. You'd be like, what? Right. Swear on my kids. Okay, that's crazy. Like, you don't go to that level over completely stupid shit. Like, that just means that you've lost credibility with anybody that knows you. That was a great point.
Thank you.
I swear.
I was like, who swears on anything? Like, what must your word be if the first thing you go to for such a stupid white lie that you're swearing on people's lives? I mean, what?
I swear on my children, exactly. I did not finish all the GIF.
I didn't shut the window. I did. I swear. It's like, okay.
Well, it's telling in two ways. Number one, he doesn't value his kids for anything. Number two, he's just a disingenuous fuck 100% of the time. And anytime he says left, it's right, and vice versa. So let's keep going.
It was my thought.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I believe you that, but I don't.
Not to embarrass you.
I know you believe in the Bible, and that means a lot.
No, I said my children's lives.
I
don't do that.
So I swore on my children's lives. No, you did both, shithead. You did both.
Swear on the Bible? Yeah. What does that mean to you? All you do is trash it. What the fuck?
Where did you hear that from? Aren't you Jewish?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Roger Waters. It shouldn't have bothered you what Roger Waters had to say.
It must have been his half Italian coming out.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to get into that, but
that's it.
But listen,
I'm telling you, my motivation was yes to do it. Radio always. I
Here's
never
the point
do anything bad.
Here's the point I'm trying to make, and I didn't say it properly, like everything else in my life.
Okay.
I don't deny that you consider me a good friend. I just know for a fact.
You don't consider me a good friend.
And I don't care, and I consider you a great friend. I'm comfortable with the fact that you're more into the radio than you are into being my friend.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead, Bob.
So again, one quick gaslight there where he goes, I told you there's always radio first, whatever. That was a point that Artie brought up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's just something I noticed there. Like Howard's trying to play that, like he brought that up. I told you it was always radio first. This is my whole thing. No, his whole thing that he brought up was I did this as a friend, and Artie brought up this is all radio. This is all you being a good radio guy. So gaslighting right there. Just a quick thing I wanted to point out.
Well, yeah, and originally he said, no, my children and Beth mean the most to me. But then here he is going against it in the same clip. Like if you play the whole thing full, like from start to back, guys, that's the way it is. But interestingly enough, I just unearthed a recent clip. I was listening to it where he had a problem with, it was a stuttering John. I sent it to Sam, and I think it was along the lines of, he goes, nope, you got to say it on the air. I'm not going to fucking do it off the air. You have to do it on the air. And it's whatever, like it was a problem. He was clearly pissed off at something. Like, I'm not going to confront him off the air. Got to do it here. Like, how would I ever? Yeah. Why would I ever deign to talk to someone personally and get involved? No, I'd rather be insulated by all this shit.
He used to say this too when he would have like celebrities like Richard Simmons or something come to his house. Howard doesn't know how to act as a person or a human being off the air. There is no off the air. He is a fucking lunatic that hides. And he should.
I think Howard off the air, I think his on-air persona is sort of an extroverted persona, like starting at the most basic personality constructs. I think off the air, Howard is extremely introverted. Mm-hmm. And with extremely introverted people, even the most mundane social interactions become completely overwhelming, stressful. They don't know how to deal with them. They tend to avoid them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because some people
totally over the top.
People have asked for us to do the dinner, Gary's dinner saga. Would you be up for that, Sam?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, it's just a good one, and it's a classic. I mean, we have to.
Eventually,
unfortunately.
Put ourselves through it.
But something else bothered me. You say I don't call you off the air. Every time you did an appearance somewhere that I saw, or I saw you move,
he followed your career. What did he do for you?
I call you off the air as a friend, and I tell you how I feel and how happy and proud I am for you. Is that not the act of a friend?
No, dude, you what? Messages to listen to.
What?
I love how he just says, "Is that not the act of a friend?" I think he's being serious.
Yeah,
he doesn't know.
Is that right? Did I do that right, or did I call before, or do I call during, or what?
That was just like when the girls were on the
Sybian.
That's like when the girls were on the Sybian. He goes, "Did she come? Did it happen? Like what? Did it? I don't. This doesn't compute. I've never seen this."
I seriously still to this day, on a side note, don't know how women came on something that basically sounded like a buzzsaw on their vagina. Like to me, that didn't seem very good. I don't know. Like, did anyone else look at that and think that's gonna work? I didn't.
And guys are pulling over, listening to women maybe fake orgasm or really orgasm. They're going to pull over and jerk off on the side of the road. Really?
It sounded like barber shears, like when somebody's like ready to get, trimmed up.
Clip their eyebrows.
Yeah. What the fuck? All right.
Anyway,
I'm by myself because I'm so proud of them.
Sincere.
It means a lot to me. But
I didn't
how
have to do that.
Can you sit there and say you've never reached out to me off the air?
I've reached out to you so many times, and quite frankly, and invited you to my home. I don't know how to reach out anymore.
I've been to your home.
I know. I've invited you out by yourself also.
I know. Well, look, I felt a little weird being with a couple of couples. Right?
Go ahead, Sam.
is this just normal? You're
Yeah.
a friend, so you invite a friend over. A friend will call you back, and maybe you come by. I mean, why is this such some huge general?
Elaborate.
Like he's acting like he's bestowing these amazing gifts upon him. He's inviting you over his house. This is called regular fucking friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
What am I missing?
He has no barometer for what an actual friend is. He's just everything is so. I think Fillmore used the term transactional. Like everything's just very. Well, I did this, right? It's almost like just check mark technicality. I did this, so this means this, and he doesn't understand empathy or the whole human experience. Where you're like, yeah, there's timing, there's sincerity, there's all these things that go into these sorts of exchanges. Yours was just a very technical. Yeah, you invited me out maybe at the worst time ever, maybe just completely inappropriate. I don't know.
The term he keeps using, it keeps coming up, is somebody did something that was loving to me, and it's basically one direction. It's to him, the way he uses it, the way he explains it. Now, during his career, people have vouched for him, like in the business. Like David Brenner was a huge supporter of Howard in the early days. Billy Squire was. Rodney Dangerfield was a huge Howard supporter. These guys, and Rodney was famous, and David Brenner, these are two really unique examples because they helped comics like no one's business after they'd made it. And they were really all about helping new comedians get to the next level. And they didn't do this to become like, oh, look at my largesse. I'm showing you how awesome I am. They did it under the table and overtly when Rodney had these specials. But Brenner especially he would have little symposiums and like have comics come over and tell them how they can improve their jokes, their delivery and stuff like this. And he was happy with that. He was fulfilled with that. Wiggy's throwing this on Artie, like, didn't I call you? Didn't I? That's something you shouldn't even bring up on the air. I mean, this is something that you
called him during his appearances. How often were those happening? I mean,
right, like
maybe
once a quarter,
a couple of them here and there. Yeah, that's not.
But the point Fillmore's making is he's doing it to showcase the fact that he's a friend, quote unquote, or whatever.
Yeah.
That should just be a given. You should be doing that. If you are a friend, you shouldn't have to announce it.
Right.
Well, what does everybody always say when they make a point for Howard being he picked up all the bills when we were out to eat, he picked up. It's all these just gestures, but it's never really anything like what you just described, where they're having people over, they're giving them point, like stuff where you're like, wow, that guy really went out of his way. You know, like with Howard, it's like, it seems like he just and this broken record again, and I'm not trying to condition anyone into this, but this is a sign of NPD where you cultivate this image through these just sort of meaningless exchanges. You pick up dinner, you give someone a gift, you invite someone over. These are not very meaningful things. I guess in certain contexts they can be.
They could be.
But mostly these people like to cultivate this image through a good guy image through just gestures. They don't actually create this image through meaningful events. It's just he picked up dinner. I mean, okay, that's not picking up a dinner when you make the money that Howard makes. Like it's a great gesture, but if that's your bar for what he did for you. And when you're trying to relay to me that he's a good guy, I would say that that's not a very high bar, for me personally.
Well, it's absolutely. And the other thing is, how often does it happen? I've said it before, if somebody like Jay Leno was defending Ellen during the whole Ellen thing, we covered Ellen's when we did the rescinding on her, and Jay Leno was trying to defend her, saying, look, in 25 years, she's been a great friend and I've never heard anything, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, Jay, here's the real difference. If we'd heard stuff like that about you and it had come out, do you think she'd defend you? No, number one. And number two, if you were really an asshole like her, we would hear this stuff. That's the whole point. And he has been so generous to his staff. He is a good guy to the people that work for him. And he's kind of cultivated a reputation amongst people, except in, Howard's bullshit world where, he stole Stuttering John from me and all this bullshit. No, if someone really is an asshole in the business, eventually it gets out. Even if it's like Jimmy Savile, which is way after the fact, but it gets out. And
the
with
child
Ellen,
molester?
well, I'm saying, but even but Ellen, eventually, chickens came home to roost, and she had to, if she was really a great person, I think more people would have come out and defended her, but it didn't happen that way. So you are your reputation that you cultivate, and so now Howard's getting these articles out from the Post and saying he's a Scrooge that are released right after he's gone, right after he's fucking gone and can't respond on the air. I think that's by design. They want this. Go ahead, Sam.
I also think, just like you said, Jay's generosity was brought up by other people sprinkled throughout time, whereas Howard's generosity, when he takes them out to dinner on the show the next time, it's all about tell them what I did for you. Tell them what I did. What about the bill? What about this? He's the one that's bringing it up, and there can never be enough praise for what he did. Tell him what I did for the funeral, Gary. Yeah, tell him. I mean, it's sick.
Yeah. It's like you got a PR agent for your good deeds. And there's like a 3-camera shoot with you handing out stuff. Make sure this is on film. Make sure this is out there. It's disingenuous and it's just phony as fuck. So don't buy any of the stuff that Artie's doing now. This is why the latter part is just not as interesting. It's because Artie's trying to walk some of the stuff back because he's realized, okay, I gotta like blow out the fuse here now because this ain't gonna end with him. Like it's just gonna go. If he wants, if I let it, it'll go for the full show and then the next show and then the next show.
Yeah.
So.
It had nothing to do with you being, shunning going to your home.
I would love to hang out with you. And the fact of the matter is, maybe that's not our friendship. Maybe hanging out together in an isolated situation is not is friendship. But this is a friendship. Whether you know it or not, there's a closeness. When I pick up the phone and call you after an appearance or your movie, and I was excited at your premiere, it's because I'm genuinely fond of you.
You've been unbelievably supportive.
You're a nice man.
And this, arguably,
this language he uses is so incredibly unnatural. You're a nice man. I'm fond of you. Like, first of all, who uses that fucking phrase in 2007, let alone 2021?
Did he watch a 1950s PSA on manners? Like, I'm fond of you. You're a nice man.
I would certainly like to court
we're having
your daughter.
A swell time.
Well, the other thing, the other thing is this. He, at this point now, it's really just about, okay, damage control on both their parts, but the damage has already been done. He's been outed as being a really just an asshole of a human being. And I think if you polled people, even at the time, most people would have been on Artie's side. 80%, 85%, except for a few assholes have been going, oh, he's being too sensitive, and this is the show, whatever, not seeing the larger picture. And over time, it's just gotten worse. More people feel that this is the seminal moment, one of the seminal moments of Howard's sort of the unraveling of his reputation as being anything approaching a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was definitely a layer peeled back.
You're talking about a guy with the most credibility saying these things about him too. So, yeah.
Had a career before the show, but it might have been over.
I don't think it would have been over.
But I'm just saying, like, this has been everything to me. I get it. Believe me, Howard. I would never be that way. I'm not a scumbag.
But I wasn't doing it to be a jerk. Honestly, I was not.
Okay.
But if it came off that way, I apologize.
But the point is...
If it came off that way, once again, guys, a non-apology.
He said you had a preconceived notion of how this was going to go.
I really didn't.
It was
no. I think he knew it would be interesting no matter what happened.
Interesting is one thing. Not that you would be embarrassed, not that you'd take it badly, not that you'd be insulted.
Never thought you'd be embarrassed. I really didn't.
Bob?
No, I was just
Robin
saying, why was it interesting? Because it was making him look like a shithead. Like it wasn't a fucking documentary. It was Why was it interesting? Because it sandbags Artie. And how is he going to react to it? Like,
it's all based on a non-comment. That doesn't escape me. Sam?
Is this Robin shoring Artie's argument up?
Oh,
Just
God.
fucking hammering him over the head with a guitar.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly.
I'm shoring up your argument. I'm looking out for you.
Yeah. She's got your back.
You're on the air.
Time. This is one day I'm going to hate the fact that we replay it.
I know. All day you're going to hear this. Yes, Anthony.
Howard, I somewhat here I have to agree with Artie.
A lot of people have agreed with Artie.
Yeah, I kind of grew up the way Artie did, where a bro met a guy who was a true friend.
Oh, a bro didn't even come into Artie's language.
Well, I think that's what Howard's saying, too.
I mean, a bro is a guy who doesn't ridicule you on a daily basis.
What are you, girls?
Go ahead, Sam.
That's amazing. And look at Miss shoring it up Quivers over here. What are you, girls? Fuck you.
Who walked off the show because they pointed out the fact that she was late for a book signing. That was the only thing she had to do that day. And it was, everybody else was to blame. They didn't get me there. They didn't take me there in time. I didn't leave the hotel until an hour. I didn't go to the airport until an hour before the flight.
You fucking moaned in bed like a sea cow instead of going to your book appearance, watching movies.
Yeah.
But
go ahead,
see,
Bob.
that guy again's pointing out, this is a daily thing now.
Mm-hmm.
This is happening on a daily basis that you're doing this.
Yep.
This is a chronic issue going on right now. So.
Right. And he sounds like a perfectly rational Jersey philosopher.
Basis.
About his drinking, about his heroin.
I get a kick out of Artie's out of control lifestyle. I do ask him about it.
Okay, Jesus Christ. It's the little things often when you listen to this that really kind of hit you over the head. I get a kick out of his out of control lifestyle. I get a kick. That's not a little thing to say. They're basically enabling him. That's the definition of an enabler. Go ahead, Sam.
Do you think Artie's mom or sister would like to hear that?
Exactly. I mean, one of the key clips I still have it somewhere. He goes, the more out of control and drunk you get, the better it is for our show. That was a direct quote from him to Artie early on. And then it's followed up, and Bob knows this quote. He goes, but they won't let you get away with that in Hollywood, dude. This is where it's acceptable. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't know he was out of control. Yeah, right. Fuck. Just gets me so fucking angry.
Ooh, they ridicule each other.
Artie's on the show. I mean, how am I going to not talk to him? This is what he does. He gambles and drinks and eats. And it's a major part of his life.
And I've put that out there,
I mean, come on.
Listen.
Bob?
He points out the three things that I was saying that I believe Howard is concerned about, and he's trying to shine a spotlight on and trying to elicit some abuse towards. He eats, he gambles, and he drinks. He's trying to change those three things about him. They'll tell on themselves if you give them enough time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the three things. Like, Artie has a whole gamut of stuff he does. The hookers,
yes.
Howard's not worried about it. Hookers aren't going to cost you your job.
Right.
The gambling, that might cost you your job.
Mm-hmm.
That might turn into something larger. Like, he points those three things out specifically because I think that those are the three things he's concerned about fucking up his own money with. Howard fucking up his own money.
That's right.
With Artie. Yeah.
Sam?
But he also uses those three things to ping pong from, I like this. This is funny for my show. And you better cut this shit out because it might lose me, you, and my audience.
Yeah.
So
and what you're going to hear is 2010.
It's a mind fuck.
But no, because he used a very general term when he was talking about Artie. He's saying, Artie, I get a kick out of. These three things, which he goes into very specific, the eating, he goes into specifically, gambling. These three things he brings up explicitly. He wants Artie to keep doing what he's doing, but he wants him to have it controlled. He's starting to become worried about those three things.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I think is going on.
Yeah.
And there's times.
I never seen a bunch of guys sitting around talking about their feelings. That's what guys do.
I'm not saying talking about their feelings. I'm saying, you know.
But I think somewhat it does bother.
I mean, Artie calls me a fag for watching Dance with the Stars. I don't take it personally.
Because you are.
Do you like how that's the first thing out of his mouth?
Yeah, but that's light. You're talking about a show. Like, you're not talking about hurting someone on a deep level. Like what he's doing to Artie. Like,
no, I meant Howard's always outing himself. I mean,
I know
all
what you're
the
saying.
time.
Yeah.
I was re-listening to a couple of older shows just to get a sense of a couple of things. I was looking over a specific quote actually, and there was something Howard mentioned. He had to mention big, thick, hard cock so many times in a short time that it was completely out of context. And Sam was the first person to say, "Isn't it amazing how often this used to come up when we didn't say anything about it?"
I know. How did he notice?
Unsolicited dick.
It's literally like falling asleep at a party. There's dicks drawn all over us, and we just didn't know.
Exactly.
Oh, you're not a fag. That's the difference. I really am fat. I really am a heroin addict. I know you don't fuck guys.
You don't know that.
How do you know?
You don't know.
Go right back. Rewind the tape. Miss
Really?
Quivers gives it up again.
Well, that was him. That was Stern.
I know, but she goes, "How do you know he doesn't?"
Fag. That's the difference. I really am fat. I really am a heroin addict. I know you don't fuck guys.
You don't know that.
How do you know?
You don't know anything about it?
So you both said it. Considering all the poking she does passive aggressively these days, whenever there's a bunch of gay stuff, which is often, and she's knowingly laughing these days. I don't know, smoking gun and smoking fucking fruit, guys. I'm sorry, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a stupid podcaster.
I don't know anything. Wink.
Jesus Christ Almighty.
I hope you don't fuck that.
Jim, you're on the air in Boston.
Jesus Christ, when did the View come serious?
Is this boring?
No.
All right, there you go. So shut the fuck up. All right,
Which one is Rosie?
Evidently.
Me, because I'm fat.
Terry, you're on the air.
Hey.
Hey.
You guys just don't get it, man. I weighed 410 pounds last year. I've dropped 180. I have people walking up to me going, "Oh, you're so good looking," and
okay, just hold on, go right back into that, guys.
Gee, man, you're so,
Well, I wish someone would do that for me. You're so good looking.
Yeah, but
You got people.
Luck.
You got a fluffer / stylist from a parking lot from Jersey to tell you look good when you look like, ass. And you've got a wife that tells you, you're so good looking and I'm so in love with you. What do you mean you wish you had people telling you that? There are people that tell you that under duress because their paychecks fucking depend on it.
He was just people he didn't pay told him that.
Yeah, but instead, those people are telling him he looks like he got slapped with a yarmulke.
I love when Sal went on the street and showed people pictures of Beth and Howard and said, "What do you think of this man?" And they're like, "He looks terrible. He's ugly. To get him away from me."
She goes, it looks like a kidnapping.
Yeah, I remember that line.
And then one of them goes, "Is that Imus?"
Look at what our head is filled with. Useful information.
Exactly.
Why do I know that?
You shouldn't, but what the hell?
having a sore thumb or having cancer, or, people look at you like you're lazy. Their perception of you is that, you're a loser. And I mean, you get that years and years.
All right, I don't know what he's talking about.
I
Joey
guess we're
Boots.
in the middle of a fat acceptance.
I don't think it's like having cancer, for the record.
Yeah, Joey Boots, you're on the air.
Oh, Joey Boots, another fruity source heard from.
Hey, Howard, check it out. I think Audie's out of line, man. Audie, you're out of line, dude.
He's not out of line.
I accept that. I mean, he's
not out of line. He has this feeling about me. And
Go ahead, Sam.
Who would have thought Artie would have outlived Joey Boots at this point?
Yeah, Joey Boots wasn't dealt a good hand, was he?
And he's expressing it, and I'm sad that he feels that way about me.
I would be honored if you were to call me a bro. Artie is a fan who grew up on the show. I can't believe he's like saying you're not my bro. And
I don't know what word would be acceptable to Artie to convey friendship, but for me, it's a comfortable word that I've used my whole life.
In the heat of an argument, I mentioned that, you know.
Artie, you're trying to be selective about the things you can be goofed on. You brought drugs, gambling, drinking, all that stuff.
Now, let me talk about the you brought up the word.
You're trying to be selective. And he points out like the most abusive things anyone could ever endure. Heroin, your weight, you just being generally a shithead. Like, yeah, he's real sensitive and selective about. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Robin can't be bothered about being late to a book signing, and you're giving this guy shit.
Oh, God. Bob makes me fucking cry laughing.
You know what?
Go ahead,
You're being selective.
Joey Boots is such a sycophant, so it's like, of course he's saying this. This guy would love to be lodged up your fucking nose.
Yeah. This is the shit that a guy with like production movies gets. Imagine if you're in there for real, Joey Boots.
Yeah.
The things that they would dig up on you and kick the shit out of you over. It'd fucking send you into a corner. You'd be rocking in a corner after an episode.
Word bro. Let me just tell you something. I'll tell you a quick story about that word. My friend Lou called me the other night. He needed help. I haven't seen Lou. I see Lou once.
My friend Lou, who I haven't seen since the Knicks were all white.
It almost sounds like he catches himself. My friend Lou, who I haven't seen in and my friend Lou, who he catches himself. That's the funniest thing.
He probably has like this, old worn picture in his drawer. It's like him and Lou from Camp Wellmet. It's like the last time he saw him, and he's like, geez, this guy keeps bringing me up on the radio.
My bro. Yeah. And then Lou probably couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Yeah. What happened?
Once a year. We know each other since grade, but we've not hung out together, I'd say, in 20 years. We see each other.
What a close friend. 20 fucking years? 20 years is a fucking lifetime, dude.
You know what? Maybe he'd see him more often if Lou was a paid consultant.
Oh, sure. Lou is his doctor, who he paid to tell him was beautiful, and he'd see him every fucking day.
So does that mean people I went to 6th grade with are still one of my best friends?
Exactly. Yeah. Jesus.
I maybe it's projection. Like, I have friends. I talk to them every day just through like either text or like, and maybe that's a girl. My girlfriend the other day was like, "You're such a girl talking." I just have friends that I've known for 20 years. I talk to them just every day. They'll shoot me a message. What's going on, man? Yeah. I can't imagine this being my benchmark for a close friend, a person I hadn't talked to in that long.
20 years, Bob.
Like,
that's crazy.
He said he hadn't hung out with him. I think he basically meant we have not been hanging around each other for 2 years.
I understand that, but like even my most distant like person that if you were to ask me who's a good friend of yours, I mean, I've seen him within the last 6 months. Like, I don't know. It's not right for me to project this, but it's just such a different gauge. Like, I don't know. It's just so foreign to me to just, your friends are people that you pay, and your friends are people that you haven't talked to, and like, I don't consider those really my friends. Like, I'm friends with people that I haven't heard from in a while. If I saw them, I'm not, running away from them, but I'm not considering them good friends. I'm just not.
Take this from the guy who's schooling us on what a bro means.
Oh, I know.
He's going to tell us this war story about being bros.
Yeah. If you remember, Lou and him were dealing each other chicks all the time.
Oh,
of course.
Yeah. We are just driving on two opposite sides of the road. We're in a different continent, and it's the left and the right, and we are just not understanding this.
The way
Dealing each other chicks.
Yeah, like a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Well,
the old maid.
I was thinking this Jonathan Winters at the Frank Sinatra roast. Jonathan Winters made like he was the bus driver on Frank's tour, and he said, Frank had set me up with some women. One of them had but one good eye, and one of them his arm was all shriveled. And he said, yeah, but look at the rest of the machinery. That's what Lou seems to come off like here.
He does.
Lou's like a retarded pimp.
But I always will consider Lou my bro. So he called me out of the clear blue. He needed help with something. I couldn't get it together fast enough to help him, but he wrote me a letter afterwards. It's been years since we hung out.
Wrote him a letter.
I felt
the only way you can get hold of him.
I can literally message in a bottle right now.
I sent him smoke signals in the Hamptons.
Yeah. He fucking tied a note to a quail's leg and
a pelican.
What are you talking about? He wrote you a letter.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I recorded something on an 8-track and I sent it to him.
As soon as I needed help, I could pick up the phone and call you. This is what he said to me, and I wrote him back. I said, You're my brother. And that's the term I use. You can always call me, and I hope I can do the same with you.
And I would think that Artie, being like a fan of the show, growing up on the show, working with you so closely, would feel the same and would be honored.
Oh, fucking idiot, Boots. Go ahead, Bob.
So his story was the guy who is his brother didn't know if he could call him to ask for help. Because I feel like all my close friends, I know I can call them and ask them for help. Like, what is that? That makes no sense to me.
So he goes, I wish I could have pulled it together in time.
If I have to think about if I have to call you if I can call you to even ask for help, that's not a friend. Like, it just isn't. Again, I'm not trying to project.
Schoolhouse Rock was brought to you by.
Yeah, I guess this is good. I'm just trying to break this down on the most human level. I guess I'm projecting my own things. Like, who would my friends that I would call, I wouldn't call them, oh man, I shouldn't call him. I should write him a letter and see if he can get it together in time. Like, I don't have any of them. I either have guys I can call or I can't call. That's it. There's no in between. I'm not writing them a fucking letter. If I have to write you a letter, it's a no.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wait, but also, how does this make any sense? I couldn't pull it together in time, so I wrote him a letter to tell him. I mean,
because he probably knows Howard doesn't like dealing with any of this shit. I don't know him that well. Blah, like probably ran it through all the normal human things and was like, I'll just write him a letter. We'll see what happens. I'll write him a letter. We'll see what happens. That's probably what happened.
The truth is, I mean, if you make a good point, Bob. If you try to apply certain aspects of Howard to regular normal life, it always comes off like your brain is addled. And like I think about my oldest friends. Okay, my two best friends I've known since grade 5, fifth grade, and high school, like grade 10, I suppose. And we all know each other, of course. But it's like, and I don't, because I live in Asia, I don't see them, but maybe once a year if I'm lucky, and sometimes not even, but that's a very different situation. Yeah. I still keep in touch with them through email and stuff, but I know that when I talk with them, we pick up where we left off. There's no recrimination. There's no, man, I haven't heard from you. Why wouldn't you fucking call? That's not a friend. That's someone who's really like a codependent or something. Yeah. And for Lou, you're right. It's probably one of those things where, oh God, I got to sit through his bullshit again, and I got to tell him his hair looks real, and he's going to pick up the check, and I got to like fawn over, the $50 meal he spent on me at some whatever fish restaurant that I didn't want to go to. And
Beth loves you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I'll reaffirm everything for you because you're such a weak, spineless piece of shit. Go ahead, Sam.
Also, too, wouldn't you think Lou for knowing him for this long would be kind of, if Lou's normal, confused at all of these look changes, all of these life changes, all of this insanity. I mean, I couldn't be friends with somebody like that, honestly.
It's childhood friends also are a little weird. Like, I mean, some like, okay, the one person there's 2 or 3 people that I literally, because I went, they're Greeks. We grew up in the same town, went to church, went to the same school at some point, and did Greek school together and folk dancing and shit like that, which I have not forgotten. But it's like, these are people that I'm not particularly close with, but we have such a connection going back that it never changes. Like we feel close when we see each other, but it's not something that necessitates constant contact.
I'm not saying contact. I'm saying, for example, like my best friend in high school decided during like Christina Aguilera time, it would be a good idea to put a bunch of highlights in her hair, and it was like low lights, black, and the bleach blonde on top. It was a mistake. And the second she walked into school, I was like, that's a mistake. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Imagine looking at Howard, knowing what he looks like your whole life. And every time you see him, it's a new rug, some wackadoodle outfit, some crazy fucking sunglasses. No friend is ever going to let you do this.
I don't buy that this is a good friend. I don't buy this is a real friend or good friend. I don't.
No, it's not. It's something he puts up.
And they won't keep people around for that reason that you said. Like anyone that can call them out or bring up the truth, they won't keep them around. They won't give those people any spotlight because they'll come out and they'll say blah blah blah. Yeah, this guy wasn't like this. He wasn't into metal or whatever bullshit he's telling you guys. And
that scarf looks awesome.
I was gonna say, you think Lou's like Rickles going up to him, Howard, I'm a friend. That faggy scarf, you know, like shaking his head, you know. So yeah, I mean, yeah. He's insulated. Like he's just you basically he's throwing up whatever he can. And Artie's no rube. Artie has friends. He literally he can count a ton of friends on both hands. People that he grew up with that are close to his parent, his mom, and his sister. That they're all like neighborhood guys, and that he still has contact with. That's a friend, not some guy. Yeah. The example you're giving is a guy was like 4 administrations ago. The last time you saw him.
Like that's what I'm saying. I can hear, like, I'm not Artie, but I have a similar kind of friend thing where all my friends were guys from, you know, where I grew up, and we've all known each other since we were kids, and it's just I couldn't imagine one of them writing me a letter because they needed something from me. Like that's a red flag.
This isn't even a letter, by the way. Like, he probably asked for something, and Howard, it's almost like a credit card application where you give a response and you're like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to turn you down for this store credit card. Thank you. Yeah. Try again.
For you to call him a bro.
And I'm shocked that one thing that Artie never flips the switch and says, what would this be like if I was listening to it?
But I mean, Artie's kind of upset because you brought this girl in under the guise that she's into fat guys. But Artie himself, you goof on yourself being fat.
Boots, I know, dude. I know. I've been here for 6 years. I know the gist of the show. I know that, you know, it goes around. Everybody gets fucked with every once in a while.
The thing is that a lot of people don't understand. It's no different than like John Candy, for example, God rest his soul. He was very sensitive about his weight. And only around certain people, like with the SCTV crew or friends of his, he could joke about it, but it was a very sore spot for him. But he wouldn't do anything to really lose the weight. So, I mean, it's his own stupidity, but that's just how you feel. You feel how you feel. And it's couched in that. Like if Artie's making fun of his weight, it's very different than if your boss comes in and says, "Look at you fat fuck," you know. Yeah. That if you're a caring thinking human being, that will affect you whether you want to admit it or not. Yeah, it just will.
I think you can be sensitive. That's a very good point.
Yeah. So fine. Yeah. Everybody has their weaknesses, and that for him, that's a sore spot. Especially because he wasn't always a big fat piece of shit. He was, you know, actually a decent looking guy. Yes, Sam.
Yeah.
Howard was really on the inner circle. He really felt like he was close to him or a bro. It wouldn't bother him so much about the weight issue, I feel like.
Right.
Maybe it would, but I definitely think that he's not a bro.
Yeah, there's what Artie's not admitting, unfortunately, and I don't think he ever will, is there's a bunch of underlying stuff, and we've discussed that, as you said, Bob. You get slapped in the face all the time, and in his case, it would be he didn't let him film Beer League when he wanted to. He wanted time off, and he had it in his contract. And Howard passive aggressively said, "No, we need you here. We need you here." And then there's cock blocking him on the Late Late Show tryout gig, and then he's seen how he treats other people. So you pile that up and you go, this guy really is a fucking asshole.
There's a QF fan that posted a clip. It was brilliant. I actually hadn't heard it. When the story that Artie's talking about from Vegas, when Howard brought it up on air. Yeah. Like, I had only heard this. I didn't really know what he was talking about. And you really hear it that Artie's uncomfortable with it coming up, and he was really sandbagged into the story coming out.
Yeah.
And like, for someone that's really principled and well versed on having good friends in your life and having a network that's really behind you, like, that's just a violation. Like, you lose respect for someone that does that to you,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just like, oh, this guy's not from the same code as I am, like
Mm-hmm.
he's from a different code. Like, Howard's from a different code. He's from the upper echelon Hollywood, whatever, where everyone's phony. Like, I'm not from that.
Yeah.
So, you can't really equate me with the things that you do, because I operate under different guidelines. And I think that was definitely, when I heard that clip, I was like, yeah, this is a serious violation that I think kind of led to this point. And I think I even sent you guys a clip. I was listening to something the other day, and Howard had said, we'll just bring it up like it's off air. And Artie was like, well, yeah, I'm learning that what's off air is on air with you. Like, you have no principles. Like,
None.
You have no morals when it comes to this. So
yeah,
we're just not the same guy.
If Artie ever went on SFN and stuff, he should have just said, let's bring up your grift wife.
Yeah, absolutely. And the truth was, okay, so that was early Artie.
Grift wife.
Yeah, that was early Artie. Yeah, like a few months into the job, even the Vegas thing. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it was a year into the job. He just didn't feel secure enough to say, no, this isn't for the air. And he really just should have silently said, or just look, we go to cut to a commercial break. Like, look, I don't want this out there. I just don't. And because he was afraid for his job. And I can only figure out that he must have already, seeing what happened to fucking Scott Einziger, which we just covered, and everybody that's going to be this weekend, that's the treatment a guy that he's hung out with gets. But I'm just here on the job, and I'm not hanging out with him, and I want to piss him off about this? No way. I'll say it. I have to. So
yeah,
I could see him feeling cornered anyway.
And I'm just saying, I never would have brought this up. It came up today, and this conversation turned into what it did.
Even as an actor, Artie, what an incredible exercise this is, and all of this is. What's wrong with you?
An actor?
Artie doesn't like exercise.
Sam, yeah, I know your mouth just flew open.
Do you think Robin enjoyed the exercise on the Sally show with all those non-actors hauling around on her shit?
Oh God, that was still. I'm still getting messages about that one actually, and people are going like, I cannot believe you guys went through that and didn't. I don't know. Like, I can't believe you guys weren't slack jawed.
Yeah.
No, but he said, I can't believe she allowed that to happen and didn't storm off. I'm like, she's a fucking narcissist. And they all had pitchforks and torches. She still would have been there because the camera was on her.
Oh, yeah, she loves it. They're going to burn her at the stake. Well, as long as it's her burning, she'll be there.
She'll be cackling, basically.
She loves the smell of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't follow that one.
Anthony, you're on the air.
I need a map for a lot of those
my level, I guess.
Anthony, you're on the air.
You're right.
Yeah, and by the way, when we go to commercial, don't ever bring this up.
Oh, my God.
Don't
Everybody walk into opposite
Are you kidding me? You
corners.
think I want to bring this
Yeah,
up?
just let's act like this never happened.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah, I don't want this. I don't.
Okay, Sam.
Wow, we're going to drill this. Artie's been trying to get off of this subject for how long and sidestep this as carefully as possible, not to blow off his limbs. And he has literally bombed the surrounding area around him, so he has no choice but to blow up a leg. I mean, no choice. He had no choice. It's either starve in the circle that you're at or blow off a leg. That's your choice. And he has the fucking nerve to say, but don't ever bring this up again.
Yeah.
Howard's like conceding here. Okay, now we're done with this. Hey, you be done with this. Or he's like, are you kidding me? Me be done with this? I've been trying to fucking end this thing for 2 hours. What do you mean, me be done with this? You're the one that keeps harping on with your fucking co-host and all these people coming in. Like, it's just, he's like, what? Like, it's just a different modus operandi with people.
Yep.
Yeah.
With Howard.
Yep.
I want this in my life.
I don't want it either.
Right. I just want you to be happy working here, and I'm happy working here.
This is the longest I've ever been at a job. I'm happy.
I know.
But you know, sometimes though, when these arguments go on, I think Artie's close to the walkout point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, fucking sure he is. Sam?
Of course. I mean, seriously, this conversation is like Pac-Man, and it's like all the ghosts and Inky Blinky and everyone's surrounding you, and you're just trying to run away from these fucks. And every time you get a little inch and you can eat them, they turn right back and they're coming for you. You're in this arcade trap. Yeah. It's emotional Tetris.
Pac-Man's a perfect analogy. The Tetris one, I don't know so much, but there's no end to it. You're right. And I think that the other thing is the first 20 minutes of this, from the part 1 of the bro clip, the first 20 minutes is mostly Howard just going the circular saw of, you're not my bro, fuck you, you're not my bro, and you barely hear Artie, but when you do, it's like a sledgehammer. And now at the end of it, the tail end of it, you hear in his voice how exhausted Artie is, and this was an hour. Imagine doing this for years with this shithead.
Imagine being us.
We're almost through, guys. Almost at the finish line. We're like a Kenyan guy collapsing at the end of the marathon.
Listen, nothing's ever going to get me just by pure laziness to get off this chair and walk out. I'm sitting down. I would never walk out of something. I'm not
want
a
to
pussy.
say something. Despite what you've said today, I do love you, and I do care about you. No, not necessary,
How
friend.
do you love him? I mean, where
But wait
is
a second.
it?
Wow. No, we work together. I get your point. But the fact of the matter is, I feel differently about you. I care about
that's
you,
bad. That's
and I consider you my brother. And there's a couple of people in this world.
So right now, we've already set in motion. Like, this is from now on. This is a business thing, and that's it. And you don't expect this. Don't expect this is ever going to be forgotten.
You're the vicious. You're the vicious attacker. You're the aggressor. I'm the martyr. Hey, regardless of what you said here today, I'm here for you. This is how they operate. They have to be the victims. You have to be the aggressor. At the end of the day, they have to be viewed as the person that was attacked. Yeah. And this is exactly what just happened.
Yep.
Regardless, Artie, that you brought up you're uncomfortable, I pay you. I'm mad at you for bringing this up on my show in a way that made me look bad. And I'm going to make you pay for this from now on, because my feelings are hurt. Because even though you realize that I'm not really a friend and I'm a fake bro, you exposed me. So enjoy eating shit for the rest of the duration of your time here.
Get a few more heroin songs, Sal and Richard. Get on them.
Yeah, so, play a few more messages for my mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Who have been in the trenches with me, and I include you. And you know what? Jackie Martling, for all his bullshit, he's still a bro. And when he came to me, he needed, to get it.
Oh, my fucking God. Jackie explained that when he did come back, he got something like,
it was $150.
A show?
A show.
I thought it was a little more than that. I thought it was like $1,000 to $2,000 a month or something. No way.
No, maybe I'm wrong in this, but I heard it was $150 a show. I could be wrong.
I seem to think it was something like 4 shows a month, $500 a show. But either way, it's like chump change. But again, if you're Jackie and you're coming back with your hat in your hand, you deserve what you get. I would never have gone back. He must have been really hurting.
What a dumb show too.
Well, yeah, it was stupid. Jackie's joked cunt, whatever. I mean, it's just, and it really also shows you how hapeless so many of them were outside of the show. I mean, not many of them could, except for Richard Christie. Richard Christie could be a fucking powerhouse drumming all through. You know, he could still be touring, he could still be doing, well, not anymore this year, but last year rather. But I mean, so many of them, what the fuck are they going to do if they're not on this show? What's Gary going to do if the show grinds to a halt? Work at a record store?
Well, honestly, a lot of them just remind me of shithead management at the county I work at. I mean, honestly, they just remind me of these like hapless, useless shitheads who just keep, you know, they're going to die there in the chair and this is what they're going to do. And that's fine. But there's no difference between them and these people.
Not really. Yep.
Presence on the radio. I understood. I mean, Jackie's fucked up in a lot of ways, but he's still a guy who was at my side.
We invited you into the trench,
but
and then also putting off this narrative that he was like by your side and you're that close to Jackie. You never spoke to him after he fucking left. You treated him like shit. Of course, you treated him like shit. And how many clips have we have up until from the time Jackie leaves until this May of 2007?
He talks about he made a mistake. Me. He left with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's another farewell thing we might have to do anyway. And yeah, he didn't want to stick with the team, and you know he couldn't get the money right, and fuck him, and win Jackie's money. That's your fucking buddy. That's your buddy that you couldn't go to bat for. Fuck you.
Yeah, this statement is the equivalent of Jim Carrey lighting a lighter by his asshole and blowing a fart. I mean, that's how fucking bad we're being gaslit right now.
Yeah, like what? You've trashed this guy for years.
Yeah,
you've explicitly brought him on this show to humiliate him. You talked about how he fucked everyone, and you made everyone a martyr. Like, no, this is not even the same fucking thing. You can't possibly tell me you're friends with this guy.
And this is, but he is exactly. And the other thing is, like, I'm trying to think all the shitty things he did to Jackie, but we'll bring it up another time. I mean, it's just like he wanted to invite him for the Biggest Loser contest when Hansy was in there to be a judge. He compared Scott Einziger to Jackie because he left. He said, like, Jackie. One person who's dead in the show is Jackie. Another person is Scott Einziger. You know, you're on the Jackie Martling plan. You're on the like, what the fuck? Like, this is your buddy? Ah, Jesus Christ, petrol.
The fact of the matter, I mean, although I question some of his fucking shit, but
who, Artie or Jackie?
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, you more than I'd say most people in this world, I spend the most time with you, and I appreciate your contribution to me and to my livelihood. And also, it's an enjoyable thing.
Oh, fuck. Everything was for, like, yeah. Go ahead, Sam, please. Oh, Jesus.
This is like seriously so fucking annoying. The way he talks about enjoyment and friendship. I feel like he's reading a Mad Lib for friendship. Like, put this word in here. Insert this word here.
He's quantifying everything.
Horseshit.
Yeah. Irma Bombeck.
He's quantifying, and it's all just very.
Meanwhile, did you guys know we're in the movie The Burning Bed with Farrah Fawcett?
Oh man, yeah, that was
fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
This is just.
Yeah. It really is incredible. And you heard already laughing just there, just sotto voce, because he knows how the Jackie thing went down. He knows full well how it went down now. Now he's there 6 years, and he's heard all the stories. And he knows Jackie wanted more money. They wouldn't fucking give it to him. So when he goes on that, he's laughing about it. He's like, yeah, Jackie's really your fucking bro. I know all about that. Yeah.
Was he at your wedding?
That's another thing, wasn't there?
I know you're a good person. And I do care about you. That's why I call you off the air.
I question that now.
Yeah, well,
here's what happened today.
I'm telling my feelings.
At 6:01.
I'm just telling you.
Robin threw out a line with some bait on it. Good morning, jerk. And she caught a whopper. She reeled one right the fuck in. She caught a 600-pound marlin.
All right, listen, Joey Fatone and Joe Pittsburgh here. Now listen, we're going to take a break.
Okay, so just nearing the tail end, guys. Joey Fatone. Also, I love the fact that his name, you could space it out. It says Joey Fat One.
I never realized that. I love NSYNC. I went to 6 or 7 concerts.
Oh, Sam, say it ain't so.
Yeah. I was such a boy bander. Not BSB guys. I was totally NSYNC and Britney Spears.
Okay. Very good. Your credentials are solid here.
I'll fight in front of them.
Let them fucking piss me off.
Joe Jacopo and Joey Fatone. I got to get to both my guests.
The Friends theme. I got. You know, Fred, could you go back to after the gold rush or racing in the
later?
Go ahead, Sam.
Did I lose just as many fans as Howard did?
Yeah, maybe. From the diehard QF audience, the militant ones.
Sorry, guys.
A girl will be on the show who loves Gary because she loves guys with bad breath.
Right, and I'm sure Gary would sit and take it, but he would not be thrilled with it. And Gary will bottle all that up. Like, forget it. The shit Gary's got bottled up, and he blows, man. I'm heading for the hill.
And don't worry, Sam, by the way. I'll just rattle off all the agnostic front concerts I went to and Reverend Horton Heat shit, and then we'll just balance it all out. So you get it all, guys. You get Hanson and you get Black Flag. So it all works out. So let's continue.
By the way, Gary's personality, when he said Gary, all the shit pent up, no kidding. It's got to be like, Mount Vesuvius. It's got to be insane.
Oh yeah, when Gary goes postal, if he goes postal on the show, I expect like a liquidation team from Buchwald to just sort of literally saw off his legs and arms and throw him in the Hudson, and then Mary's going to be disappearing and Jackson's going to, who knows, DJ disappearance. But yeah, Gary's going to be, but if he's smart, he's got a couple books stashed away and lawyers saying, look, if you don't hear from me, you send this to the New York Post and it's free. You put it on Kindle free.
Yeah, he definitely has that. He's got that letter stored away.
Oh yeah.
If you ever find this, please.
Yep, absolutely.
With Robin, I've been through it with Fred where we've had uncomfortable moments on the air.
This isn't uncomfortable.
And the best way to deal with this, trust me.
I ain't gonna bring shit up.
Don't bring it up. Let's eat French toast. I'll sit here and pick my ass. And weird.
Yeah, well, that's what he does best. Pick his ass, pick Ralph's ass, eat his ass. I don't know. Fuck, it's all about ass, male ass. Sorry. Bob, apologize to your girl for us. We're putting you through this.
She can't hear it. She can't hear it.
Does she think it sounds straight?
She doesn't listen. So for context, my girlfriend is 30. She didn't even know Howard Stern was on the air. Does not know anything about him. When I told her I was starting this, she's like, "What? Howard Stern, like the old, like the guy from like in the 90s and stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, he's still on." She's like, "What? Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's still on." And that's her context. My girlfriend has no idea why I do these things. She doesn't really know who Howard is, and
right.
Yeah,
it's the same reaction you get, even though he's still alive. But it's the same reaction you might get if you asked a 25-year-old about Freddie Prinze. Or like that's a guy who's been dead for like 40 years.
Yeah, she's like, I had no idea that guy was even relevant. I'm like, he isn't. That's the weird thing, is that he isn't, but we're still making these things, and it's niche, and it's a weird thing to explain to anyone that's not in our world. But
right, I spoke to a couple of guys about it and got them intrigued simply by saying, we perform an autopsy on Stern every week. And they said, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
People at work, 30-year-olds, they don't have any idea what I'm talking about, but 50-year-old men, they love this. They think it's like the greatest. Like the director of my whole department loves the show, and I'm like, this is so bizarre. But he's like, I used to pull over to the side of the road. I don't know what happened to this guy. And I'm like, well, are you finding out?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we were uncovering all the fucking moccasins under the shitty, dirty, moldy, musty stones, guys.
Look, you'll share lunch. It'll be great.
And if you can find a chick, a jackpot chick who's an obese, who's into obese guys who are into heroin, then that's a jackpot.
Howard, what you didn't do was screen the girl first.
Okay, got it.
You should have looked at her first.
I got news for you. It turned into the greatest bit ever.
All right, we're gonna take a break. Please, let's not be uncomfortable.
I'm not saying Robin listens to that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's plead for comfort now. After the most awkward conversation that you could possibly push, you fuck.
Yeah.
You basically put down a chain link fence and said sleep on it, let's be comfortable.
Just for that, Robin, we might just go through the Cleveland book signing thing and fuck you a little more. We're not just doing the 15 Foundation. We'll go into all the shitty charities. Let's keep going, guys. It's only 42 seconds.
Fucking reading the Torah.
Oh, it's gold.
Oh,
gold.
man. I'm not going on here again. When John, when you come in later and do the old move, hey, did you see the Yankee game last night? Can you come by the show?
All right, listen, we're going to take a break.
No, the answer is no.
We're taking a break.
Let Robin come on. I'm going to be listening. This is my bro, Bruce Springsteen.
The sad thing is, Bruce was more of a bro to Artie than Howard.
He was. He called him. He called him up when he was out, and they spoke to each other. He had a conversation. I think I have that from the Nick and Artie show, and he was really amazing. Actually, I give Bruce total credit. I'm a fan, not a huge fan, but I like a lot of his stuff. But anyway, look at the little tail end, guys.
There's your brother. He's looking for you. Joey Fatone.
He wants
and
nothing
Joe.
to do with me.
All right, we'll be back right after these words. Here you go.
He's waiting tonight.
So we're going to have to get that one, put that one to bed, guys. I want to thank you all so much for sticking through it. It was a long slog, but I think it's been worth it. And Bob, thank you as always so much for being a part of it. You rock.
Definitely.
Everybody loves you when you're on the show. And Sam, as always, the stalwart co-host with the most. And for after this, we're going to be doing a little more recording, just a little bit more. But any closing thoughts or comments?
I'm mum.
Thank you, jerk.
I'm
hearing Robin's voice in my head now.
Yeah, I guess closing thoughts. I don't know how you like Robin after this, honestly, but yeah, I mean, again, it's another example of MPD, and it's another example of why you don't cross them in a professional setting.
Yeah,
is pretty much what this would be an example of.
Anything to shore up Fillmore?
Shore up my fucking arguments. Well, I think, guys, you guys are going to enjoy that the next NPD thing we do. Bob's working on one now. It's going to take a little time to put it together because we got to get all the right clips as always, and try to streamline it as much as possible and not make it a 10-hour slog. But if
what do you mean?
We have to.
Let's just be unprepared completely and throw up a 4-hour show.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing on a Wednesday? Like, I don't know, sometime in 3 months.
Well, at any rate, guys, we love you. Keep the comments coming in. If I'm going to throw the gratuitous Patreon plug, thank you for all the new Patreon members who've donated. And we love it. It helps us move forward. There's all kinds of new gear coming up to make us sound better and add a little more zest to the show, as it were. On Twitter, at Fillmore Fingers. Join our Facebook page. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. And all the updates come through Facebook. So from Bob and Sam and myself, we love you. Take care, stay safe, and take care. Brush your hair.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Okay? And I'm going to fly out there next week, and I'm going to straighten your ass out. And I'm going to make sure that you really get it. I'm going to make sure that you know what a rude, thoughtless little pig you really are. Do you understand? You're a rude, thoughtless pig. So be ready on Friday the 20th, because I'm coming out there. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to turn around. I'm going to fly right back home. You are a rude, thoughtless pig.